And as the strains of Like It Better by Bright Child fade away, it's time once again to welcome you all to the Echo Chamberlain livestream. And boy, has it been a cultural desert out there. The last couple of months have been awful, with little happening. And YouTubers like myself and my guests have been at a loose end, drifting, not knowing what to do with themselves, their skills and roles and sense of place undermined, the culture unavailing. Anyway, my first guest was fly fishing on the banks of southern Illinois' Kincaid Lake, under a vast sweep of sky, tinged orange and streaked with violet in the nearing dusk. Glancing across, scarcely acknowledging the figure who had appeared at his side, he cast with the languid grace of a man reconciled to the past. His arm rose in a slow, deliberate arc, then snapped back in a flourish that made the line whisper through the air. After a spell, he narrowed his eyes and muttered, "I was wondering if the day would come when I would find you standing there." "It wasn't easy tracking you down," I murmured. "That was the idea," my first guest said. His wrist flicked forward, supple and precise, and the silken thread of his line danced out in elegant loops. "I'm sorry to disappoint you," he said, low but emphatic, "but I'm not the man you knew back in the days of The Rings of Power Season 1 and The Acolyte." I absorbed this with a droll half-smile and gazed out at the lake. "Ironheart is about to drop on streaming," I said. My first guest narrowed his eyes. A gust of wind ruffled the placid surface of the lake, stirred the reeds and long grass at the water's edge. "You old bastard," he said. "Okay, I'm in."
Every time I'm out, they pull me back in.
Hello, sir. How's things? America looks interesting these days. You could almost describe it as a slightly divided country.
Just a little bit. It's mostly peaceful here, though. That's what I'm told. I don't know. Oddly enough, I think I'm part of a growing majority that's just tuning it all out. I hear that there's things happening somewhere, but then and I just don't care. And that, I think, may be very bad. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I had a mental snap too, where I went from hyper extreme emotion, angst, anguish, and then it just snapped and I just don't care about anything anymore.
Yeah, it's like weird little things are exciting me now. The other day, we were going to watch something on Netflix and we saw, their little rolling ads. And one of them, there was a title that sounded so stupid. My whole family was there. We're like, we have to watch that. The title of this movie is called K-Pop Demon Hunters. Excellent. And we thought, son of a, but we have to see what that's about. Like, obviously, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And then we watched the trailer. And Friday, we're gonna watch K-Pop Demon Hunters because it actually looks kind of fun. It's like that low frame rate Spider-Verse style, and it looks like it knows it's dumb and is just leaning into the fun of it. And so that's the kind of stuff that I'm excited about right now. Just give me the K-pop. It's fine.
I do like how a couple of months ago you went on Twitter/X and your post was, "I'm here, sort of under duress. I don't want to be here. This is low beneath me." And then a couple of months later, you're just streaming random content about gaming and stuff that is off the top of your head.
That's what it's for.
You got sucked in.
I did. I have a timer on my phone so that I don't get sucked in too much because it's bad.
Well, on to our second guest. I found him in a low-lit bar, tucked behind a fried chicken joint in the back streets of Itaewon, Seoul. The place was called Gold Tiger, though no sign said so, just a glinting brass tiger's head mounted above the door. The decor was a studied blend of old-world noir and new money ambition, the urbane glow of Korean minimalism and eclectic vintage posters. He sat alone, nursing a bottle of Jeju wit. I slid onto the warm leather banquette beside him. "You weren't easy to find," I said eventually. "That's why I come here," he said. He regarded me coolly, hinting, dallying over long-forgotten rebellions and quieter, darker days. "I can't blame you for trying," he said, "and I'm grateful to you for adding some color to my day. But I'm not that man anymore. The days of Velma's trans friend and the penis-to-vagina song are behind me now." Outside, the rain began to needle against the window. "Sue Storm has been highlighted as the de facto leader of the Fantastic Four," I said. My guest said nothing, just stared at his bottle. Then he made a curt, fatalistic nod. "All right," he murmured. "You always knew how to push my buttons." He reached for his coat.
How's it going, lads? I have to say, I don't think my hiding skills are very good. I chose the most popular place in Korea with foreigners as my hideout.
Well, my research skills are limited. Give me a break.
No. Itaewon's great fun. I had good times there.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. How are you doing, sir? I mean, you're someone whose profile is so massive and gigantic that you can weather any storm or any drought when it comes to the culture. So
Yeah.
you're fine.
Well, yeah, I look. My channel's not tied to the now. My last video I think was just about a 5-year-old short movie. I love that. I love going back and just finding these bizarre little hidden gems of the woke era that nobody's ever heard of and bringing them to light. Whether it's an advertisement or a short film or something, because some of it, it's so weird and bizarre. It speaks to this truly odd place that American culture was in at the time.
Yeah, it's very much a cultural artifact now, isn't it? That all those things are mined culturally.
Almost like a cultural historian now at times. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, what a cool position you're in, that you can find something obscure like that, and you've got such a big and devoted fan base that whatever the subject is, they'll just back you as the person they want to see rather than the subject material, or in that order, if you see what I mean. So
yeah.
Cool. Okey-doke. Now, third guest. The yelps and staccato growls of the pent-up new prospects carried reverberantly through the athletic center. The smell of liniment and sweat was pungent, and my next guest watched on, narrowing his eyes at Pin's overly frenetic and ill-disciplined grappling. This was, after all, a man used to melee, who had endured a rib broken from his spine. He didn't take his discerning, disapproving eye from the students on the mats as I sidled up alongside. You could have saved yourself the time, he said, finally sparing a glance before bellowing at an aspirant that his footwork was loose. I'm not in the game anymore, he said to me. I allowed for this, then said, in the Superman teaser trailer, a dude's teeth get punched out and the teeth seem to bounce off the camera in slow motion. I saw the strike at a deep and familiar register. He made a little wince of succumbing to the inevitable. Then he nodded curtly. Okay, he said. I guess I'm up for one last ride.
I was gonna say, I like this like Dirty Dozen thing you got going on with our intros. Almost like each one's its own episode before we get going. It's awesome. But it's great to be back, man. I haven't been on in a while.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, I had some obligations for a little while, but my schedule has laxed a lot, so now I'm able to make more appearances. So I will be.
You're very welcome. Yeah, it's been like, geez, a couple of months. I don't know, even longer. But always glad to see you.
Always glad to be.
So, now, to our next guest. In the desert swelter, heat waves shimmering in the distance, I trekked up to the door where my next guest resides and pushed it open. After a few seconds of my eyes adjusting to the gloom of the interior, I made him out, being rogered senseless by Uncle Owen, who was haggard, snarling and grunting with base lust, self-loathing transmuted to loathing for the figure he was pummeling. My guest's eyes lit up in paroxysms of pleasure, hydraulic and seminal fluid trickling and smeared over his chassis. Jesus Christ, I hissed, have some self-respect. But my guest's wails of erotic yielding, scarcely distinguishable from distress, were cut across by Uncle Owen, who bellowed, "Shut the fucking door, get out of here!" To which I complied. Half an hour later, after smoking a cigarette and drinking some blue milk, my next guest waddled over, contrite, self-conscious, and imponderable morbid insecurities projected diffidently as defiance. No words were needed, or rather, I wasn't willing to expend the effort of summoning the words up.
Oh, good evening, Echo. You truly are the master of astonishing introductions.
Well, yeah, yours was a little different tonally, but, it's irresistible at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. It's incredible. And on the subject of K-pop Demon Hunters, I watched and loved that trailer at the same time.
Oh, that's great. Nice one.
It was so bad, it looked incredible, so I instantly sent it to my youngest as any good dad would.
It's like they know it's bad and they're getting into it. I'm pumped.
That's great news. Well, thanks for staying up, Z. I mean, there are a lot of Brits who would pussy out and not join us, but you're a hard man, but a fair man, and
oh yes,
we need you. And on to my final guest. I sent him a message on X saying, "Do you want to join the stream?" And he said, "Yeah, cool." That's Rico. Hey, so it's good to see you again. It's been I don't know, half a year since we had you on last time.
Yeah. Always happy to come on.
Always good to see you.
The most accurate anybody has ever described Reaper and his interactions on a message. Yeah, why not?
Well, shit, you're about to hit 100K subs, Reaper. Jeez, man.
Am I?
Yeah. What I mean, am I?
Let me check.
Yeah, check
your so modest.
I literally don't check my channel unless I'm posting a video. Oh yeah, 96,000.
Hey. You kill me, man. Like, are your videos still getting demonetized because of swearing or whatnot?
Oh yeah. Well,
this is crazy. Just mute a couple of C words and you'll be making bundles of cash. I don't understand this.
Yeah, but you give me Bella Ramsey and I spend about half the video just insulting her face.
I know, but all those delicious pounds and pence that you could be raking in just by deleting a couple of C words or just putting a beep sound effect on them. Unbelievable.
Well,
didn't even know he was on the 100K.
Swearing is not worth having.
I guess so. Yeah. So, well, you're authentic. I'll give you that. Anyway, let's get into the stuff today. So I wanted to start off with a cool little thing here. This is from Dan Murrell. He did this chart. I wanted to look at the Acolyte because the final numbers came in. So this is the millions viewing totals in millions of hours on Disney Plus. Of course, The Mandalorian top because it's got 3 seasons, and then Andor with 2 seasons. And then we get into the 1-season ones, and you've got Book of Boba Fett, 83 million, Obi-Wan Kenobi, 71 million, Ahsoka, 67, and then a plunge down to a total of 20 million for the Acolyte, which is astonishing. It's almost quite beautiful how low that is. There was no audience for it. The modern current day audience either doesn't exist or didn't turn up, which is beautiful.
I think we all collectively got more watch minutes.
Probably. I think so, yeah.
The Acolyte.
So I did a little research and I crunched the numbers and I looked for streaming shows with comparable around the 20 million mark. And they're not exactly spectacular. Cyberpunk Edge Runners, Warrior Nun, I don't know, that's not exactly a hit. And She-Ra, Princesses of Power. So these are the types of shows that is down in the basement with the Acolyte. I can't say that I couldn't put my hand on my heart and say that I've seen any of these shows, or that they were cultural phenomena, or that they had extremely high budgets. And some other ones I found were Heartbreak High, Hoops, It's Ball or Nothing, which is not the greatest pun or gag ever, and Killer Soup, an Indian detective drama involving mushroom drugs. So this is the tier that the Acolyte ended up on in terms of its rating and audiences.
Yes, but I don't think any of these cost 230 million, did they?
Probably not, no.
Well,
So
maybe if you change it to rupees or whatever, ruples for India, maybe it's. But
more importantly, that Indian guy looks like an Indian version of Joe Pesci.
Yes,
he does, actually, yeah. I wonder if he's 5'4". I feel a little nostalgic for the Acolyte now. It was just free money and free views, and I wonder if we'll never get anything like it again.
Ironheart.
Those were the days.
Ironheart.
Yeah, definitely.
Ironheart was made relatively like the same. They were making it at relatively the same time as the Acolyte, so it probably has a very similar feel to it.
Yeah.
But the Acolyte, I mean, what's your record? I want to go through you guys for number of videos for one media product, because for the Acolyte I must have pushed out 6 videos just on that one show, and all of them were bangers in terms of numbers. What are your guys' records for one media product?
4 for Rings of Power season 2. I don't, but I do multiple episodes per per video, because I do the commercials in the middle. So had I known I was gonna do that originally with Acolyte, because that's where I made up the whole commercials to bust up, I would have busted it up more than I did. I only did 3 for Acolyte.
Because Reaper, you can go episode by episode with something like The Last of Us, and you'll get like 20 minutes out of one episode for your videos, right?
Yeah, pretty much. My first episode of The Last of Us, which was on time, got 200,000. Then the rest of them, which are about 4 weeks late, it didn't even get half of that.
Yeah. Well, you've done Doctor Who episodes as well, and you'll do like a whole season of them, right?
Yeah. So if it's 8 episodes, it's 8 episodes. Like Ironheart's going to be 6, so I'll get 6 out of it.
Jesus.
Well, we did all 8 episodes on the Brown Alliance, 2 hours each. That's 16 hours
true.
Wasted on that show.
Yeah. Well, that's a different beast. Yeah, that's more of a cultural. That's more of a hangout. Yeah, maybe I should do episode by episode. I don't think I could do it, Greg. I don't feel my channel has enough weight and heft behind it that I could go episode by episode on Ironheart. I think my audience even knows what it is.
No, I can't do it. And I also I can't go off the cuff. I got to write a whole script and edit and get in jokes and all that kind of stuff. I can't I'm jealous of like Despot. I feel like I'm sure he writes some stuff, but I just feel like he is at his desk just talking about it and it draws me in. I can't do it like that. I think I had cool, 7 on the Acolyte.
7?
Yeah, but you don't have to.
And
you don't have to do a good job.
Shit, 4 of those was like a total of 8 hours or something between 4 of the videos. Like it was quite the marathon on that one. But I just couldn't stop reading the interviews with Leslie Headland, and I just had
they
to
were spectacular,
talk about all of it.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Anywho, I also wanted to show you guys Pedro Pascal's release schedule for 2025. So April 4th, Freaky Tales, and then literally a week later, The Uninvited, and then 2 days after that, The Last of Us Season 2, and then he was at a loose end for a couple of months, and then The Materialists, and then 5 days or a week after that comes Eddington, and then 1 week after that is the Fantastic Four First Steps. Yeah. So that's Pedro Pascal's release schedule. I don't think I've seen anything like this in contemporary culture.
I can't remember the last time an actor was this ubiquitous in Hollywood.
Yeah. It's back in the 60s or 70s. They had a policy back then of, they'd just take whatever was on offer because they needed the job. But this is of a different magnitude.
I think Will Smith was everywhere in the 2000s. I remember that.
Yeah. But not like this. Not like this. He would have like a movie every couple months, but it wasn't anything.
He was a bit more selective, I think, because he was box office at the time. But this is just nuts.
By August, we're all going to have PP.
Yes, yeah, I've been there. Say it. Lost the bet.
PPSD.
Wore the fuck out.
PPSD.
Every time PPSD, we're gonna have Pedro Pascal, fucking syndrome here. It's gonna be crazy.
Plus, he even crops up. Box. Yeah, he does. He's perfect.
I have a little bit of respect, I guess. You guys ever schedule so many streams in 1 week and you're exhausted? Like this guy's putting out multiple movies a year, and I feel like such a baby for not being able to do 4 streams in 1 week.
One thing I do like about Pedro Pascal is he really embraces his role as the worst dressed man in Hollywood. His fashion sense is just fucking abysmal, and he owns it, man. He's all in on it, and I love it.
Yeah, I think my favorite will be the red coat cut at strange angles with the black, almost knee-length boots. That was quite spectacular. Yeah, he's one of a kind. So that's the thing. Not only does he saturate it with content on the screen, but also in social media and stuff like that as well. So
they really need to check that dude's hard drive, though. That guy's got something weird going on. Some of the stuff,
far too much odd touching.
Yeah,
he is one of the more insufferable. I don't follow celebrities because like 999% of the human population, I don't care about their opinions. But he is, from what I've seen, he is one of the more insufferable celebrities when it comes to online takes and his social media presence.
Yeah, he's a twat.
All right.
The thing is, though, he is justified in getting away with shit no one else would because he's in every box office hit, so you can't get rid of him. He's protected, and because he's checks every box. Sorry,
part of the new generation of half Caucasian, half Latino. It's a new generation they've got where Hollywood seems to have done a calculus where that's the sweet spot for getting. It's inclusive, but also okay for China. So it's that sweet spot in between that they've found. So Diego Luna, half and half. Zendaya, half and half. Pedro Pascal, half and half. The guy who played Finn in the Star Wars films. No, not Finn. The other guy.
No, he was unbelievably black.
No, the other guy.
Dameron.
Dameron. Go colorblind for the fucking win.
A lot of them would just be as European as me or Greg because the Spanish, the Italians, that's Southern Mediterranean. They're all European. They just have darker skin. They're swarthier. But they're recorded on the census as non-white.
Right. So yeah, that seems to be their sweet spot. Anywho, Ironheart. So finally, the cultural drought is going to end. Man, it's been hard yakko out there, to use a Kiwi phrase, about making videos. God. But this is going to be the great redemption, for me at least.
Do you know how I imagine these? I imagine these like YouTubers are sort of like starving hyenas and vultures and carrion animals. And every now and again, Netflix or Disney or somebody just washes up this giant whale on the beach, and the YouTube carrion just descend on this giant free meal. That's what Ironheart is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, the best part about her is that she checks every box. Basically, she's like 15-year-old black genius, bisexual, everything. And then they're gonna have the drag queen in there. She's doing magic. Everybody's
I totally agree. I swear, if I was the showrunner for this show, I would say, lads, we are going all in on woke. We're gonna make this the wokest in your face shit. We're going to rub the viewers' nose in it. We're gonna drive it down their throat. I would just go all in. Because
this might be it, though.
You can't.
Well, that's my question. Is this the last huge spasm of woke? Is this the last of those gigantic?
Well, the last big one, and you actually predicted this, Echo. So did I, to be fair. Snow White, we said, would be the swan song of the woke era. And I think that's true. It was the last massive budget sort of woke made for the modern audience bonanza. This, I think, I would call this the sort of the fume.
Aftershock.
Like the aftershock. The main shite is out of the boils, and this is just a dingleberry.
Yeah, they've been holding on for 2.5 years.
Yeah, that's true. But there wouldn't be anything of the scale and magnitude and severity and purity of wokeness and identity politics nonsense after this. This has to be that last aftershock little spasm.
I don't think so. I think Fantastic Four is going to take the prize for that this year.
There's one that is still in the hopper, so to say. It is when they finally pull the trigger on a Miles Morales movie. That is going to be a cultural moment. Now, that's going to be a cultural moment because it's going to cause all of the arguments that we've heard to be brought up again. He's not Spider-Man. He is Spider-Man. Yeah. You know, he's so once they finally do that, which I wouldn't be shocked if that's in the near future, because they probably want to get out from the Sony connection at some point. And I don't think they need to keep Sony for Miles. I think they could go their own route with him. It's weird the way that the contract is worded for that.
Hasn't he already got a trilogy? He's in the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, but I mean a live action movie. I mean when they finally bring him to the MCU, which could be right. I wouldn't be shocked if it's after Secret Wars and they start to set up for that.
Let's just go through the yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm a little sad to see it end. I mean, as someone who
me too.
You know, who's part of my income relies on this kind of crap that I just make fun of. Like, it's, you know, there's the Ray movie not happening. That kind of hurt my feelings a little bit because I just it was too easy. Now I got to work for it. This sucks.
You sound like a reporter going, I'm sad the war's coming to an end. I enjoyed the bloodshed. I enjoyed the violence.
I enjoyed the views.
The bombings. Oh, it's all coming to an end. How sad.
Don't worry, Greg. There's always another war. Always. The military-industrial complex never stops churning. The CIA never go to sleep.
War never changes.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's one very soon.
Yeah. As we're speaking, there might be a World War III breaking out. But I feel like a politician, like a prime minister or a president who's lost most of their majority, or and they don't have the heft to be able to pass legislation that much anymore, and so doing anything feels really difficult. I just feel a kind of lethargy that set in. Right, this engine that I've got that's not quite turning properly when making these videos anymore. So, God bless Ironheart. Thank you so much. But, so she's at MIT. She's a tech genius who's brilliant at STEM. She's bisexual. She's black. She's brilliant. But I just needed, as Därkhour alluded to, I just needed that little extra sweetener, that little cherry on the top, just that little thing to push me over the edge. And here it is. Oh, so she's starring in the show. Shea Coulee is an American drag queen. Singer, rapper,
looks
actor,
like the fish from there was the fish from Shark Tale. Remember that movie? That's what that looks like.
So she achieved international
say
fame
she,
after.
is this a biological woman? Or is this-
Obviously
no.
not.
No.
You
Of
wouldn't
course
even know
he-
though. You wouldn't know these days because it could just be a woman with freaky plastic surgery.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Look at the Adam's apple. It's bigger than a balls.
So she competed on season 9 of RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm not sure if that's the same season that Maestro's actress from Doctor Who was on.
Jinx Monsoon, I believe.
Yeah. Continued their musical career, starred in their web series, podcast, and has embarked on domestic and international tours, including Work the World, Haters Roast, and I Just Need One More to Get Me Over the Edge, and a Drag Queen Christmas. Yeah, it got me there in the end. So that's it. They put everything woke and identity politics and perfect into this show. So it's going to be great. Like there's 20,000 views I'm staring at the screen right there.
There you go. Echo, go ahead, share that screen.
Let's see what we got here. Can I add this to the stage? I got to remove my one and then put yours up. There we go.
That's the fish from
Yeah,
Shark
right.
Tale.
Well done. Yeah, good call.
Except
That's a
that
great
fish
catch.
looks female.
Yeah.
I wish that we
Well
could put
done.
them both next to each other. Unfortunately, you have to
Oh,
remove
yeah.
one of the pictures there. Yeah,
Great
that's
catch.
what I thought of immediately. Like, look at
Brilliant.
that. It's perfect.
Yeah. So, like I said, I don't think we'll ever get anything this pure in terms of identity politics in a show again. And I feel a little bit solemn about it because it's been a great ride. I don't know.
So
that's that.
it'll come back in like a different form. And I'm actually interested in what you guys think. What's the next thing? It's not the trans thing because there was a brief moment where they thought that was it, and then the whole audience said no, but 100% fuck you guys. So that didn't get like a 10-year ride like the last 10 years of woke. What's your next vote? My thing, I think they're gonna fall back in the old standby. We're gonna do eat the rich shit. We're gonna see that come back up for a while while they lick the wounds of the woke death.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. I do think they will go that route because that's what's popular right now anyway. But they are probably going to have to do slow back steps toward it. I wouldn't be shocked if they have to go from, the non-binary, trans, all this stuff. And then it's like, okay, now what's shocking again? Gay and lesbian. We're kind of right there right now where they're going backwards to that.
A lot of the energy that was devoted to the trans movement was almost immediately transposed over to Palestine. That is the big thing for the left.
Yes.
At the minute, they had a bunch of actually the protests in the UK, the pro-Palestine protests, really hurt their cause because they were so aggressive and they put people off in such a big way. But I think Palestine is sort of their thing right now that's absorbing all of their energy. And it's kind of become a mono cause. Like in the LA riots, there's people running around with Palestinian flags. What the fuck has Palestine got to do with the LA riots? But it's just sort of part of this big mono cause.
Well, it's the perfect triangulation of all their causes. It's racism, it's anti-colonialism. It's basically got everything they could possibly want wrapped up and in one cause.
Yeah, wealth inequality. Yeah, you're right.
Wealth inequality.
Has anyone besides me
seen movies that are just that nonstop?
Has anyone besides me seen the one of these weird, or it's like you'll see, it doesn't matter what social media, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, whatever, where you have like this far left, person who's on the Palestine bandwagon, then you have like legitimate neo-Nazi on the other side, and they're kind of agreeing on the same thing. And I'm just like, I never thought I'd see this world where these two groups were agreeing on like how to handle
bear
Israel.
in mind, Därkhour, Nazis they're sort of thought of in the popular consciousness as right wing, but when you actually examine their ideology, Nazism is a very bizarre mix of far left and far right ideas.
Yeah,
it's really
that
a
is
strange
true.
ideology when you get into the details.
It was more of like these two groups that historically have butted heads.
Oh yeah, I know.
Are kind of converging on this one topic. There we go. Someone just said a political horseshoe in action, and it's crazy. I never thought I'd see the day where this happened. I love it. I love whenever I see it. I just sit back with a bucket of popcorn. I'm just like, go on, you crazy motherfuckers.
No, it's
Greg, how distinct is the like the Tea Party movement was basically around the idea of don't tread on me, and then you've got this left-wing driven No Kings movement, which is also basically don't tread on me in terms of freedom. So this is all just one huge swirly soup now. It's crazy.
It is, and I always take every chance I can get to just hey guys, the Libertarian Party wants you because it wants to shrink the government. Everyone says they want to shrink the government. They just want to shrink the government when the other side is using it. Everybody, let's all get together. We want to shrink it. No, the overlap stuff is weird because I'm halfway following the LA riot thing, and I think it's about immigration. And I see people that keep talking about, you need the immigrants because it's migrant labor, it's cheap labor. But these are the same type of folks that call cheap labor like wage slavery. So I can't figure out if they want the people to be paid less or they don't. I don't know what that's about. And then the Tea Party thing turned into kind of got merged into the Republican Party, but they were all about less government spending. And now we have like a big, beautiful bill that we're all excited about. That's like more than any other bill in the history of the country. Like, I don't know. There's so much overlapping of the sides. It's real fucked right now. And it's Därkhour is right. Just get the popcorn out. Just laugh at it. That's all you really can do right now.
Yeah, the BBB slated to be 5.1 trillion over 10 years. So I can't even get my head around that number. Astounding
the way I look at the debt and the deficit and all that is just fuck it. Don't pay them. Whoever we owe that money to, who cares? It's just numbers. Move them around. Say something happened. I've watched the NFL. I know how salary caps work. Okay.
Well, here's where we're actually at, because now we've reached the apotheosis, this trembling, shimmering, perfect pop cultural moment where Captain America is black,
Black Panther.
And Black Panther is white. We did it! Yay! We got to the perfect circle. So Marvel Comics announces T'Challa's white son, Katima.
Is this his adopted son?
No, it's a future Black Panther and King of Wakanda. So
how could it be T'Challa's son if he's fully white?
He got none of his dad's DNA.
Yeah, he only got the white.
All from his mom. His mom must be white as snow.
It reinforces the stereotype of black guys going after white women, which is like, that's been a joke. Mel Brooks in the fucking 70s.
Yeah, I can't wait for Ryan Gosling to play him in Doomsday.
Where the white women at?
That'd be fantastic. Yeah. So we're going to have, it's astonishing, but I never thought in my lifetime you'd have a black Captain America and a white Black Panther. That's astounding stuff. That's perfect. So, of course, I went on to the one source which is going to give me the best lols and fun, which was Reddit, to see how they reacted to this. Commenters I please notes, even if he was the kid, wouldn't look like he could sing in One Direction. So he makes a good point there. We can't have a MFN thing even if it ain't real life, lol. Bruh, you're in the wrong era. It's not the 1960s anymore. Entertainment contains so many diverse cast and crew, it's become the norm now. The king isn't chosen by color, it's by blood. You're basically saying T'Challa can't get it on with some snow bunnies. Damn. Black Panther can nut in anyone he wants. That's my king. So that's the perspective of Envision J.
That's the most based that you're going to get on Reddit, I think, right there. That's...
Acceptable Victory 38's perspective was like Drake's son, not even biracial. Drake is white man. I ain't ever seen a single N-word produce a blonde blue N-word in my life. N-word did the impossible. So that was Acceptable Victory's perspective. King Karaka. This man is not black, bro. He looks like he comes from the Seven Kingdoms, bro. This man is a full-blooded Lannister, bro. BFR. Straight up Lannister, bro, says Inevitable Song 7085. So that was the perspective of Reddit. But so I guess I got to ask you guys the question: is this patently ridiculous? And are we so desensitized to nonsense now that we can't even summon up any kind of emotive response to what is plainly the most stupid thing imaginable? Like even Daniel Kibblesmith would look at this and go, "Whoa, man, I don't know. This is getting too woke now." Like you can't get any more stupid than this.
It is stupid, but what goes around kind of comes around. So many white characters that turn black, people are kind of laughing now. It's finally coming for them. So it's kind of like more petty vengeance, if you want to call it that.
The fact it's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, pale-skinned person is what makes it best.
Yeah. But it's not vengeance because the people making the comics are so identity politics driven that they don't see this as any kind of impediment. In this mind, in a kind of twisted, weird, incomprehensible way, this is progressive. So this isn't reactionaries taking a snarky little dig. This is progressive people taking to a hyper extent of progressiveness that there should be no impediment to their being someone from a different racial background taking on the role of T'Challa and being in the
Well, it
king
makes sense.
of a
It
black
makes
kingdom.
sense from the kind of world building that has come out of woke diversity casting and woke ethnography. And you see it in fantasy series like Rings of Power and Wheel of Time, whereby you go to a little village and there's only 50 people in the village, but it's like 12 different races from basically everywhere in the world. Now, that's biologically impossible, right? Because within a couple of generations, such a population would breed themselves into some sort of ethnic homogeneity. But if you can have that, then you can also just have a white guy pop out of a black guy's ball sack. Like, biologically, it makes sense. It's the same logic. It's just this confused abiological, non-scientific world build whereby the whatever the designer or the showrunner is feeling that day just ends up the ethnography in the world. It's just a natural extension of what they've already created. It's nothing different.
You mean they've gone full retard?
Well, they never weren't full retard. That's what I'm saying. They were always full retard.
Who wrote this one? I'm going to look it up real quick.
But if this was a book from 1925, it would of course be laughed off as the most hilariously reactionary, strange thing that you have a white guy who becomes the, the king of a black kingdom in Africa. That would be extraordinary. So yeah, I don't know. This is strange new territory.
I just love that his name is
part of Avatar, though, because the Na'vi are a stand-in for ancient savages and human savages. And the white man Jake Sully comes in and conquers them and takes them over and says, "Right, lads, here's what we're gonna do." It does have that sort of white savior thing going on, but at the same time, it's trying to be kind of old, not woke. It's like more like old-fashioned Greenpeace leftism. Avatar. It's sort of hippie. Absolutely. It's sort of hippie leftism, but it's also doing the white savior trope at the same time. That's another one that's sort of politically bizarre, and it reminds me of this actually.
And Avatar is also heavily anti-military industrial complex as well. So there's a lot of that.
Which is because that didn't help James Cameron. He's such an asshole, James Cameron, man. Like, his attitude is, I've had my career by having movies just where shit blows up and there's 5,000 guys killed and Arnold Schwarzenegger, blowing up a skyscraper with a fucking a jet. Right, I can do all that, but I'm going to burn the ladder behind myself so nobody else can do that because testosterone is bad and guns and violence and what a fucking hypocrite, man! What an asshole!
Oh, but he's our James Cameron though. He's Michael Bay with a touch of class, and we love him for it.
Great director, but the shit that he's done to basically, like, he said things like testosterone is a poison in men's bodies, and he's come out, guns are bad and all this shit. You really do get the sense that he wouldn't get a start today because he's a white man, right? James Cameron wouldn't have a career today. And so many guys, rather than actually say that and say we're wasting a lot of talent because of this anti-white male purge that has gone on in Hollywood. No, he's on their side. It's very hypocritical and cowardly. And yes, he's a brilliant director, one of the great directors, but it pisses me off how he's pulled up the ladder behind himself.
They've all done it. Everyone in Hollywood has basically come out as a traitor and told people to fuck off because that's the current thing. Like in COVID, how many people... Remember Arnold Schwarzenegger? Everyone's going, oh, he's so base now. But then in COVID times, he was going, screw your freedom. All these people, they'll just say whatever the fuck they're told to say. They're all monkeys at the end of the day.
That's true. That's true.
I've said that about a lot of celebrities in the past, that a lot of them just follow whatever they think is the thing that will make them popular. And the one that I said that was the most was what the hell, Captain Marvel chick,
Brie Larson.
Brie Larson, yeah, I said Brie Larson doesn't have any thoughts. It's just whatever someone's telling. Hey, this will make you popular, so just go do it.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah. What happened to her lovely? She had a little podcast streaming series.
Yeah, she had that YouTube channel where she loved Nintendos and did some exercising.
Yeah, and she did that thing which every female YouTuber podcast has to do, where they pretend they've just arrived and their hair is a mess and they haven't really done their makeup, and they just pretend that they've just arrived like that, and they're all very natural.
Like there was a schedule that someone else was keeping, and they didn't turn the camera on themselves, and
so anyway, that's it's the beautiful situation.
My favorite thing is his name, by the way, Katima. Like that dude's name is Brett. I don't care what you say.
or Chad,
or Chad, or Steven.
I'm feeling Chet.
Chet.
I'm really feeling Chet.
Can Timothée Chalamet play him as well? Like in the MCU, can he just be like a different dimension White Panther, or what?
He looks like he's the star high school quarterback who's about to throw a pass, and he walks in slow motion down the.
There's probably a lot of like gay fantasy involved here as well. I'm serious.
Probably.
I'm serious. I would guess.
Yeah, you might be right.
Soft porn for the gay designers.
Yeah, I think you could be on. You could be right there. Yeah. Okay.
Surprised they didn't call it ketamine.
So I'm going to try and fix Doctor Who because Reaper, you've been making some Doctor Who vids, right?
Yeah, a few, but then I kind of dipped out because it was just unbearable.
Yeah, so I'm trying to lift this IP from its squalid state and try and rehabilitate it by introducing some new doctors. And Chat, you're involved as well. So Chat, you can basically just give like a number from 1 to 10 if you think the prospective people I put on would be suitable as the Doctor. So I'll give you a pitch, and then everyone can give their views. But this is particularly for Z and Reaper as Brits, and it's their cultural institution. So I'll go through, and I'll give you suggestions. Here we go. All right. Martin Freeman, beloved as Tim in The Office, one of the greatest sitcoms of all time. Martin Freeman could be a cross-generational choice. Appreciated by moms and dads, familiar to teens who grew up seeing him as Bilbo Baggins, which showcased his charisma and draw on a large scale, and cast him as a sympathetic and likable persona in a fantasy genre, and quickly endearing him to younger children. He would evoke Peter Troughton, the second Doctor, as slightly smaller and with a similar characteristic benign scowl of concentration, certain fastidiousness and busy manner, but with a little gravitas too. He would be both a safe pair of hands and something of a pleasantly large-scale proposition. Give him an eccentric outfit, an affectation or two, bish bash bosh, bibbity bob, a surefire hit, and ratings restorer. Martin Freeman has Doctor Who.
Well, anything's better than what we got. But
true.
This was out of 10, right?
I'd say he's not eccentric enough. He's a bit too flat, his performance. Especially when he seems like Bilbo Baggins. He's quite like monotone. I don't think he brings the high energy the Doctor needs.
But I would say go back to the Madman in a Box format with Matt's sort of Matt Smith sort of actor.
Yeah, I could like. I don't know if you guys have seen Breeders, but he was fucking hilarious in that show. But it's like a dry, sarcastic humor. It's not
so British.
Yeah.
But don't you, as a contrast to Shooty, don't you want to pull it back and make him a little bit more, so he gets more of like a drama sci-fi,
You want to ground him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you could put an eccentric costume on him, and you know that Peter Troughton like scowling look that Peter Troughton had the second Doctor, that kind of vibe. What do you think?
Patrick.
Yeah, Patrick Troughton. Yeah.
It also depends on his companion. Like, how would you balance him out if he's not going to be as a high energy? So, what do you think his companion would be like to complement him?
Young, high energy. So then you get a nice balance where he's a little bit, a little bit of side eye about the antics of the young companion who doesn't quite understand, and he's a bit more fastidious and interested in the sci-fi elements. So that would be the nice combination. Rating out of 10. Brits?
Well, I'm going to give that a 6.
6. Okay.
Yeah,
6.5.
Mostly because of the actor choice. I would have picked somebody else.
Well, we've got some other nominations. So 6 and a 7, that's not too bad. I mean, it's better than Shooty. Like, let's just start off with a baseline. What was Shooty out of 10?
0. -10.
Yeah, he was not the Doctor. He was Shooty Gatwa.
He was running around in a dress, screaming and crying every episode. I mean, that's dead. That killed the show.
Absolutely. I mean, the Doctor is supposed to embody all the people that he's been before he regenerated. And whereas this Doctor didn't seem anything like any of the Doctors, and it was so alien when you're watching him.
Which is ironic because he is an alien.
Yeah.
That is actually true though, Z. A lot of times, I mean, I didn't watch too much Doctor Who, but every time they transitioned to a different, actor, there was always like a period where they had to adjust, and they would kind of still have the traits of the previous one, even obviously the costume, but even have the trait, and then slowly break into their own traits. So I agree with you on that he didn't have anything like that.
Well,
what if the
Americans, etc.
What if the companion was Benedict Cumberbatch, and then
do like a
Sherlock reboot?
Yeah. That's not bad. So, Greg, what would you give out of 10? I mean, Bilbo Baggins, like a big screen charisma and potential. He can do it. He can bring a little bit energy there.
I'm seeing some folks give it the old IGN 7. I think I'd agree with that. I know I'm not a big Doctor Who fan, but I do know that he has a little more energy, which is kind of what stands out about Doctor Who as opposed to all the other British comedies. So I don't know that he can bring that, and he might be seen as boring because of it.
Yeah, I don't know, but like people who remember him from The Office, you're going to have parents sitting down with their kids. He's a familiar face, a good set of hands. Därkhour, out of 10.
I'm probably in the same 6-7 range, only because I agree he definitely would. I do think it's actually would be important to bring it back down, away from what it was. It was so out there at this point that you gotta bring it back to center somehow. That he could be a good actor for that specifically, but I almost see it as being like an Eccleston thing where he'd do a very short stint just to kind of right the ship and then and then go away.
That's a good idea.
All right. So anyway, here we go. Dan Stevens. He has played Sir Lancelot and Charles Dickens, showing an aptitude for classic British fare and aesthetics, and also an X-Men related drama FX series Legion to show his sci-fi chops. He would provide an edgier, more pronouncedly masculine, capricious quality, a bit more on the Christopher Eccleston side, more daring, kinetic, and would add a sense of excitement and a grown-up sensibility. Dan Stevens as Doctor Who.
Interesting. I mean, I've only actually seen him in Downton Abbey, so
yep, that's fine.
I have no idea about his range.
Yeah, so he can do the old,
certainly
the old, Charles Dickens. Yeah, exactly. Charles Dickens and Lancelot stuff. He's done a little bit of X-Men related stuff, so he can do sci-fi. He's going to have that energy. It's going to be, kinetic, like I said, that Christopher Eccleston vibe, a bit more masculine, but more sharp-edged. Could bring a whole new audience, plus ground it as well, and make it a little bit serious. What do you think?
I haven't seen him in anything. How serious can he get? Because the Doctor has moments where he's quite ruthless.
Yeah, well, doesn't this guy give off a kind of ruthless vibe? Like he's not. You're not.
I feel so scared right now.
But he's not going to be the kind of Doctor who's like empathy plus. He's going to be a bit more detached. He's going to be interested in less interested in his companions who kind of tag along behind. You know what I mean?
So here's the thing that's coming to me right off. So I'm with Reaper. I barely know anything about this actor. But the first thing that comes to mind when I see him is trying to bring back a female audience, which was kind of the route obviously the route that they went during, the Matt Smith era. They wanted that, and also especially during the, the David Tennant era, because it was the romantic aspects and all of that. And I have a feeling that's the route they would end up going. The writing, not necessarily him specifically wanting to do it, but the writing would try to go with someone young and, in the classically attractive male kind of role.
Right. So yeah, kind of Matt Smith vibes a little bit.
Yeah,
so
Matt
chat,
Smith.
I need a number out of 10, chat. I need a number out of 10 for my Brits.
I haven't seen him in anything, so I don't know his performance. So just on this one picture, I'd say 5.
All right. Fine.
Yeah, hasn't really got the devastatingly handsome look. Great. I think if you're going to go with that, you really need someone like Taron Egerton or Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right, scores. Z?
I'm going to give it a 6 as well.
Okay, fine. All right, Greg, as an American, you're second tier in terms of your numbers.
Yeah, that's true. I've only ever seen him in Downton, so I
Mhm.
mean that's guaranteed female audience for a few episodes, which would boost the ratings. But I don't know if he can bring the. I don't know. I've ever seen him do like levity, like the Doctor would need. So I got the 5.
Mhm. Shame we don't have Amelia Bedelia in the chat. I can really value her opinion. Okay, moving on. I'm going to go with, okay, so now we have Richard O'Yardaway. Yardaway was president of the Footlights Club whilst a student at Cambridge, so he comes from good British comedic entertainment stock. Yardaway has frequently appeared on panel shows like QI and 9 out of 10 Cats, and served as a team captain on Was It Something I Said? He presented the factual shows Gadget Man, its spin-off Travel Man, and the revival of The Crystal Maze. He would provide a quirky, offbeat Doctor, the eccentricity that is a key part of the DNA of the character, oftentimes abstracted, or oblivious, or supercilious, or amusingly heedless of typical responses and queries, more interested in phenomena than people, and his clothing and general look is already halfway toward the Doctor Who aesthetic. So Richard Yardaway as the Doctor.
He's been a favourite fan casting for quite some time now, and every time Regeneration comes up, his name has always been floated around. I think he'd make a good Doctor, but I'd like him to play it straight, not as a comedic role.
Mm-hmm.
I would like
but
to
you
see
get what I mean?
plot.
Like he's a Doctor who's more interested in phenomena than he is in people. Like he's attracted to anomalies and stuff like that, and often disregards the people around him. I think that'd be a nice way to ground him like that and play it straight. Yeah, he's halfway to the aesthetic already. Like that wardrobe almost could work as the Doctor.
This picture looks like it was a promo taken
exactly
to test. Like I think from a looks perspective, I would go with a 10. I've seen him in a couple of things, and I've only ever seen him as a quirky comedic, so I don't know if he could play the straight and more serious aspects. But yeah, I mean, just from a looks perspective, it looks really good.
Yeah, you'd have to really tie into the fact that he was autistic and he had no interest in people.
Yeah. You could push that. I think it'd be great.
Yeah, you need a companion to really bring the empathy, bring the humanity to the character.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that'd be the right balance. But I could see this guy coming out of the TARDIS, and I could see him in Radio Times promos. It'd be an easy, like this would be like a guaranteed one, I reckon. And it'd get lots of positive buzz. It'd be shooty except done right. In terms of diversity and all that. So scores and chat. I need scores as well. I think this one's going to be positive in the chat.
I'm going to give him an 8 for sure. I like Richard Ayoade. I think he's great panelist and presenter and a good actor. So I think he'd fit the role just fine.
Yeah,
I'd give him a 7. I think mostly because where we are now with Doctor Who, I think you see more diversity and you go, oh no, you're more safe to go back with a white guy. But if it wasn't because of Shutigawa, I'd give him an 8.
Yeah. All right. Well, Despot, you're essentially Brit. So what's your thoughts?
Technically British.
This is the Doctor. Yeah.
I never watched Doctor Who prior to Shutigawa, and I only watched the Shutigawa stuff for my channel, so I'm probably of all the people on this panel, I'm the least qualified to say who Doctor Who should be. But yeah, I mean, I'm not emotionally attached to the franchise in any way, but he does look as if he has that kind of twee quality about him, which might work well.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me just, go ahead, Greg.
No, you got.
I just think that he's got that something very sort of off kilter that I think really suits the Doctor. There's an eccentricity there, but also a strong intellect, which I think works really nicely.
He looks just crazy enough to be intelligent, kind of thing. In this picture specifically, he looks very much like I'm too busy trying to solve shit to do my hair, kind of.
But equally, he looks crazy enough to get everybody killed.
Yes, there's a little bit. I mean, like I said, from an actor perspective, I've only really ever seen him in the IT Crowd. And he's really funny in that. So
look at this comment. He reminds me of a mixture of Tom Baker and Jeff Goldblum. That's great. I like it. Okay, well that's pretty good. Any other scores that are yet to come? I think we've got everyone. Okay, well let's move on to Okie doke. Michael Sheen played Aziraphale in the BBC Amazon Studios fantasy comedy series Good Omens, alongside one David Tennant. as well as 2 other fantasy films, Underworld, Rise of the Lycans, and Tron Legacy. He would be a less relatable, less emotionally accessible, more grounded Doctor, more mature and aloof, which would have the effect of elevating or redirecting the show slightly more into a proper dramatic sci-fi. He would be slightly more of an unknowable Time Lord, Sylvester McCoy in some respects, but more like the original Doctor, a professor type, capable, unflappable, and a sturdy, redoubtable match for Davros and the Master. The Doctor to restore a bit of gravitas and polish to the show. Michael Sheen as the Doctor.
I think he'd be good. I mean, quite good. Yeah, as you said, brings a bit of seriousness back to the character. But Michael Sheen, Michael Sheen, but he can actually, he has a bit of range. He can bring that eccentricity the character needs. He can bring a bit of quirkiness to him. So he's still alien and foreign to the viewer, but as you said, grounded. I think he'd be pretty good.
Yeah, because I think there can be a nice tension if the Doctor isn't so relatable and isn't so full of empathy that he's not distinctly human, the way that Ncuti Gatwa was just emotionally incontinent and gabbling and all over the place. If you have a Doctor who's aloof, who looks like he's, thousands of years old or whatever, and then you have the companions, and you get a nice push and pull of the companion wanting to have more empathy and that kind of thing. And the viewer kind of wants that too. So you just at the end of episodes, you have little glimmers of him showing empathy towards end of episodes, of the catharsis of an episode, That's how you could do it.
You've also got to think what the companion is, because that's 50% of the show and how they complement each other. So would it be would you go with like a child? Would you go with like a younger woman?
If you went with a child, it would have a very weird implication there, just based on this picture.
I think it'd make a very good dark brooding Doctor and wouldn't need a companion. I would go a season without having one at all.
Wow. Just at least not a permanent one, maybe some temporary ones for like small arcs.
But if you had his companion was a housewife from Hull, who's not impressed by anything, that could be a nice little contrast. So scores out of 10 for Michael Sheen. A difficult bet because the show is based on kind of emotional connection and stuff. So, but it has those other qualities.
Well, I do like Michael Sheen, and he's got ties back to Russell D. Davies and David Tennant, so he would be kind of a preferred candidate if Bad Wolf were going to continue the series. He's an excellent choice. He's one of my personal favorites. I would score that as a 9.
Whoa! All right. Wow.
9 as well.
Okay, great. Därkhour, Michael Sheen.
I almost feel like this is the opposite of just what I said before, where from an acting and a range perspective, fantastic. The look is where I'm wondering how. So like he would need a really good costume. They need to, it's probably more in like this. Everything's kind of landing in the 7 range for me. It sucks that I have to keep doing that, but yeah, I think if done right, that score could go up though. It's just a matter. There's a lot of things would have to go right in this one though. You can't really fall back on the old, the old tropes, so to say, that they've used for the last few decades.
I'm thinking costume with kind of Edwardian linen, something like that could work nicely. Greg, give me a number.
I gotta go 8 or 9. I mean, I know. Well, I like comedy, and I like the more physical comedy stuff. So, but what I continually realize that I get wrong about Doctor Who is that he is not just like goofy. You guys keep saying that, like, oh, they're not serious enough, whatever. And I like this idea that you're talking about. This guy looks like if you said Michael Sheen is 3,000 years old, I'm like, yeah, I could see it. He looks like he's seen some shit. He's seen a lot of stuff, but could also just be a little irreverent from time to time. I think he would be really, really good.
This kind of gives off like the War Doctor vibes from which was it, the 50th anniversary or whatever. Like the general look, the rugged look of him kind of gives it off a little bit more like that.
Okay, and now let's try Stephen Merchant, co-writer of The Office and Extras, and then on his own for 3-season show Outlaws. Stephen Merchant would bring a wealth of small screen experience and instincts as writer and actor. More than that, he would bring a quintessentially eccentric Britishness, cardigans or long scarves or other affectations. He would be a Doctor who was very much a boffin, preoccupied with the sonic screwdriver, alien technology, but often pushing his curiosity a step too far and causing all sorts of conundrums. his rapid-fire articulation of tech and sci-fi gobbledygook would come alive, and he would be the Doctor that, when confronted with a stony-faced, menacing baddie, would gabble tensely, amusingly faltering with doomed insouciance to strike up a rapport or make the baddie see reason, while his companions tensely tug at his sleeve. A kind of sci-fi Tom Bombadil, the Doctor that would often be talking around a subject and be distracted by the wrong thing. And yet, each episode would also have a cathartic twist where he would console or lay out some deeper truths to a stressed companion. Wisdom and acumen you recurrently forget he is capable of, and which would always come as a pleasant surprise. So, Stephen Merchant as the Doctor.
I think it'd be really good. His height would be a bit of a thing.
Yeah, he's
They
unusually
could work
tall.
around it. Yeah, he's 6
He's
foot
like
7, but they could
6'7".
work around it.
But yeah, if you could work around it, because it's a bit creepy. He reminds me of Slender Man a little bit.
You need a really tall companion, basically.
Yeah.
You need someone you probably need a companion that's like around like 5'11" woman to make it look correct. This is
But I
probably
think
my
there's
favorite one
something-
so far.
Yeah, in the British archetypes of, the tinker, the boffin, those kind of archetypes, I think he could be really good in bringing that kind of energy to it. A real old-fashioned nerdy kind of Doctor.
Yeah, he a very Matt Smith. You get out of him very good vibes. I think he'd be an excellent choice. I just don't know. I say it's who's his companion, because that is 50% of the show.
Well, the companion would be stauncher and more grounded, almost kind of like, what's the name of like Penny to Inspector Gadget? That dynamic. It'll be that kind of thing.
Like fixing the problems behind the scenes.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah, that kind of thing. A little bit of that.
I think it's a great choice.
Yeah, so he'd have to be a little bit more of the eccentric, messing things up on accident kind of thing, is what you're saying. Which kind of that plays pretty well with being like long and lanky, and the people who are tall usually accidentally knock things over because they're just not aware of how far it is from their body.
But I think cross-generationally, this would be a ratings bonanza. Everyone would love it. It'd be a good vibes.
I mean, he's a solid choice, but I think he'd have to drop the accent.
Yeah, it's a little too, what is it? Bristol?
Yeah.
Maybe. I think you're probably right about that. Yeah.
I don't think people care about the accents. I mean, we just got Ncuti Gatwa, who's some weird Nigerian Scottish hybrid.
Yeah,
I think we're fine with Bristol.
You love it, babes.
So surprisingly, Michael Sheen, the runner, and one more option, Pedro Pascal, bringing quality and distinction and pedigree to the role of Doctor Who. So thoughts? Give me a number.
So he just mumble his way through all scenes.
He'd have an accent for the very first episode and drop it by the second episode.
Yeah, I guess. -73 from Black Star. That's a curious number. -100 from Scooter.
I would love to see this just for the cultural meltdown. But that's the the sadist in me coming out.
I think it's too late. It's too late. Nobody cares about Doctor Who. Like, Billie Piper has come back for the next Doctor, and nobody gives a shit.
She didn't even look like she knew she was coming back in that scene. It was filmed perfectly. She was almost it almost looked like she was surprised that she was there herself.
Like, nobody, like, is she the companion? Is she Bad Wolf? Is she just a Doctor who looks like her? Nobody cares because it's fucked.
Yeah, they honestly, what they really need to do with the IP is they need to ice it for 10 years, to try to revive it.
How long would it take, though, in all seriousness? Because I was thinking, so for reference, 5 years ago was basically COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think 5 years would be long enough for the stink of Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor Who to leave the room. I think you need a good decade. Like, what do you think?
I disagree. Ice it for 10 years minimum. I think that's pretty much. Yeah.
No, I disagree. I think we live in a time where just things move so quickly and rapidly that things that shock us and seem like they're going to shock us for a long time, we forget about them and move over them so quickly. I think you could just do a year at most and then bring in a Michael Sheen, and the system would just go back.
A year's too close. I think what you could do is you could say 3 or 4. But you build it up as a big event and go, this is Doctor Who, and then you really come out. I think you could do it.
I also think that collectively we're going to just try to forget all this shit And so like the shooty doctor has the good fortune of being wrapped up in all of this end of woke tail end shit, and everybody's just going to pretend like it didn't happen. In 5 years, it'll seem like it is a decade ago.
Well, what if BBC came out and went, all those doctors you hate are no longer canon? Would you come back?
That'd be great.
That would be hilarious, actually, if they did like
if it's wrapped in a coherent storyline.
A reverse Lucasfilms, be like, all the stuff we did recently doesn't count. We're bringing back the old stuff.
If you did that, but if they genuinely did that and said, fucking Luke Skywalker didn't kill himself, would you watch the next one?
Well, I think no, because of all the stuff that Mark Hamill has done to his person. So I think that would kill that.
Recasting him, he's gone. It's a new
trilogy. We killed Mark Hamill for you guys. Don't worry, he's
we murdered him with a pickaxe to the back of the head, like golf club.
All right, so now we're going to do film projections. So we'll bring up the films on the screen, and the panel has to decide if it's going to be a bomb or a success. And the first one is going to be 28 years later. Greg, you're in charge while I go to the bathroom. No, Despot, you can lead us off.
So this one, just like that. Fuck.
I have
been usurped.
Hold on, let me, Greg. I'm going to pull up the budgets here. Just take us through this while I'm grabbing
75 million.
So, is it just success? Is it just bomb? Like blockbuster, or are we also doing that whole like at least it breaks even kind of thing as well?
Yeah, because we're going to talk about the budgets, so we need.
So 75 million is 28 years later, and just tells, I mean, what you think it's sort of ballpark. 2.5x would be the break even. So does it break even? Does it not? Does it smash? You know, Greg, what do you think?
I think this is going to break even. 75 is not that bad. It's a nice mid-range, mid-budget film, and you've got a lot of kind of cult following that's been gathering over the years. I mean, what 28 Days Later was 20 years ago, right? Like it was. That is where Cillian Murphy's career started. I think this one's gonna be like a word of mouth. It's gonna gather a lot of power, and I think this one's gonna break even and go a little bit over.
Yeah, I think this one crushes. It could do 300 million. Final Destination Bloodlines made almost $300 million, and it's similar in that it's an old horror IP that's been gone for a long time, and they've brought it back. So that bodes well for 28 years later. And also the trailers just look fucking great. There's so much hype. There's so much buzz for this. I think this, and it's Danny Boyle. So I think this thing goes possibly close to $300 million, but it's an easy win.
I agree with that 100%. I was going to point out when a movie like Final Destination comes out and like no one even knows it's coming out and does so well, this one, when they first started the marketing, it was very slow. It was just logos, very small thing. They did a very slow build, and now which is good, which makes sense for this kind of IP. And I do believe that this is going to, I think in that 300 to 350 million range is probably where it's going to land. Who knows? If it's really good, it could go even higher.
Z3PO.
I think this is going to be a resounding success. I think it's going to be about 250, 300 million. It's the closing film in the trilogy. I think the interest is going to surge again. It's such a low budget. It can't really not do well.
Yeah, true. Reaper?
It's 2.5 of 70 million. Well, that's 175 million.
It doesn't even need 300 million to make money.
Yeah, it needs like 250. It's massive profit. But it's going to clear that. As you said with Final Destination, 300 million. The only thing that might suck the oxygen out the room is that it's coming out at a very heavy period of movies. Because like in 2 weeks, you've got Superman. You've got Jurassic World in the 2nd of July.
Sometimes that works in its advantage, though. Sometimes if there's multiple good movies, people will do those. Hey, let's go see a couple.
It's kind of piggybacking, and you can piggyback on a low budget, which I think might be to its advantage.
Yeah.
What isn't this a two-parter? 20 years later,
Yeah.
because
Is
yeah,
it?
so is the 70 million? Yeah, there's a sequel coming out called The Bone Temple, and it's
Mhm.
filmed by Nia DaCosta, who did
That I do not
the
know what the
Marvels.
fuck Danny Boyle was thinking. Like what? Because he's the executive producer. What the fuck? Why did they hire her?
Cheap, probably to keep the cost down.
I suppose
Well,
so.
she did. She
I
did
would have fucking
Candyman.
directed. I would have directed it for less than Nia DaCosta, and I would have done a better job because I'm not fucking Nia DaCosta.
Well, Candyman
true.
was okay, you know. I think this is
Was
going to do gangbusters because people have a lot of goodwill for this. Horror and sci-fi genres are really, you know, popular now. They're surefire bets. The only thing that could, you know, take the oxygen out of it is I don't think two-parters, people really respond to that very well because I feel they're getting a little shortchanged. They're going to see the first half of something.
Yeah.
Especially when they
It
don't
comes
put
out
it in marketing
January
material.
6th. It comes out
January
January 6th
6th,
next year in kind of a dead month. Which
Well, no,
can
that's
work to advantage.
January is traditionally horror month for some weird reason. I don't quite know why, but
It's a
there's a little
dumping
space
ground.
they have for it.
A lot of the movies that were supposed to come out at Halloween, like the premium horror movies, that's the sort of A grade, low budget horror shit comes out at Halloween, and the stuff that didn't make the Halloween cut just gets dumped into January.
Yeah.
Is
Okay,
the 70
well,
million? Sorry, is the 70 million for both movies or just for this? Because they filmed them back to back to save costs. So I
Probably
think. Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say it's probably only this though because let me check. Hold on.
Yeah, because you got to pay Nia DaCosta to do the sequel.
No, because they haven't. They wouldn't have finished post production on the second one, so the cost for that wouldn't be out yet.
No, yeah. Usually it says the like in big quotations or something or like parentheses. It'll say like for both movies. It doesn't say that on any of the ones I'm seeing here. So
I really hope it has the signature tune, that guitar-driven thing where the same riff just lurches over different chords. But I hope that they don't modernize it and have gigantic pounding, driving wall-to-wall synths underneath that riff. That would be really a pain. Okay, well that's that. Ilya, I saw a little sample of this, and I thought it looked really sweet. I thought they've got the movements of the kid, especially, and the kind of dynamic interplay and movements of the characters look really kind of charming. It might turn out to be a bunch of identity politics bollocks, but I think just from that perspective, it looked all right. It's a strange pitch. I don't know who the massive audience is going to be, but I don't know. My soul isn't entirely destroyed that I can't look upon this and think it could be nice.
kids love space and aliens.
This
Sorry,
cost
what was the last
$300 million.
kickoff? Really?
Yeah,
How much?
300 million.
Okay, there's no way this is going to turn up.
300 million.
I'm not even gonna try to justify it with like
I'm-
kids love space or anything like that.
This might be an okay little kids movie. This thing is going to be one of the biggest bombs of the year.
Wow.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, Pixar have really fallen off the cliff in recent years. I think the last Pixar movie I actually enjoyed was Coco.
Quite like
If
Soul. I thought that was nice.
If you told me this was 200, I still would have said it would have. Trouble.
Yeah.
300 is insane.
Greg is our resident Pixar expert. So Greg, what do you think?
So I was talking to my wife about some of these, going over the list, and she relayed to me a story. My 11-year-old, I think, she asked him about it, and he said, "Oh yeah, I saw the trailer. It looks like that other movie, The Strange Place, Strange Planet, Strange something, fucking Strange World."
Strange World. Yeah.
In his mind, that's and he was just like, yeah, it kind of looked like that with the little blobby thing. So, and he's not excited about it at all. Pixar has become kind of a parody of itself. Like it's everything is so curvy. It's like they're allergic to geometric shapes. And angles of any kind. It's so soft looking. It's so, and this one, you know, this is my tinfoil hat moment, but I do believe that originally the plot of this was about him being like, I'm mistaken as the ambassador of Earth, and I think that all the other aliens were going to convince him that, you know, humans bad, we're so terrible because we're bigots and blah blah blah. That was going to be the plot of the movie. Because the trailer came out years ago and then it went silent, and I think they retooled a lot of it. So I think not only is this movie going to feel like a couple of movies smashed together the way Elemental did, but also the art style is tired. It looks simultaneously juvenile and also trying to appeal to, you know, middle-aged white women. I think this is going to be a fucking crash and burn on an epic level.
Yeah, there's actually things that I watched Strange Worlds. I'm one of the few people who did. I actually was going to do a review on it, but I got sidetracked. This is making a lot of the same mistakes. The art style is essentially identical to Strange World. It has a box tick, so the kid is partially sighted, and that's 100% ESG. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a partially sighted character, but in this case, I would call it performative diversity. It's so obvious that this is a sort of holdover from that peak woke where you're just trying to jam as many identity points into a character as possible. Another thing it has in common with Strange World, the main sort of mascot, the toy they were trying to sell, the toy character, was a blue blob. It was literally just a blue blob. This thing is just a two-tone blob with a hole in it. It's a fucking abysmal piece of character design. Like, I'm no character design expert, but Jesus Christ, you do not need to be an expert to know that that piece of garbage on the left does not sell. Do you know what I mean? If you were directing a movie and someone came to you and said, okay, how about this for the character design? You'd say, what the fuck? It's just a blob with a hole in it, dude. This is so fucking boring. Do something. Get the fuck out of here, man. You're fired. You know what I mean?
It looks a little bit like something, but I'm just gonna.
It's so nebulous. It's so nothing. It's so unrelatable.
I feel that if Elemental, you know what the pitch is with Elemental, so you can see how that's a big film. You know what you're getting. With this, it takes a long time to explain. It's like that film Wish they had from last year. What is it? You don't know what it is. What's the appeal? What's the draw? One other interesting thing is that, remember when Bob Iger was fighting for his position because he had that challenger? And one of the tactics he had was to take this off the slate and then ditch it by a year or two because he wanted to present and project an image of strength and continuity and cohesion in the studio. So that was the first thing he did was shove this out of sight while he dealt with that issue. So that shows that what his instincts were. But I don't know. This is probably going to be a bomb. And very strange that Pixar would go from being the most instinctive studio out there in terms of generating genuine magic and goodwill to plummeting down to this really random, strange stuff. Maybe they just got high off their own farts.
Well, the people have gone. The people who made Pixar, Lasseter's gone. Like, no, it's not. It should Pixar in name only.
Yeah, Lasseter was purged during the Me Too movement.
He liked to hug people.
That was it. There's no evidence whatsoever, and he left to join. Was it Skydance or? He took a lot of talented Pixar crew with him.
Yeah, so he did go to Skydance over at Apple, and unfortunately, I wanted him to really succeed over there because he came in the middle of a project called Luck, which is not a bad film. It's all right, but it was kind of already underway, and he came in and sort of helped finish it off, and it was all right. And then his first one that he really was 100% in charge of came out on Netflix last year in November, I think, or early December, and it was called something that I can't even remember the name of the damn movie. It was a princess and her parents were getting it was basically a movie about divorce for kids. It was really fucking depressing. And it was it was all right. It was very meh. Somebody in the chat hopefully is going to help me with the name of it because Enchanted maybe or something. I thought, the Lasseter magic is he's going to show him, and he kind of didn't. And it was sad.
Is there a chance this could bomb initially, but then gradually just stay in there and stay in there?
No.
You're in the house. It's not going to do an Elemental?
Definitely not. Well, I watched the trailer and remember when their characters used to have features, and now they all got this bean mouth look from Steven Universe, and it's dire. It's like
very
feminine.
feminine.
No skill.
Yeah, it's very feminine. There's nothing appealing to young lads. Nothing looks cool. There's no masculinity in any of these characters. But I've got a tweet from Chris Gore, and he said, "It is an embarrassingly awful story. This is the worst movie Pixar has ever made."
Wow. Yeah. All right. So we're thinking it's going to bomb terribly. Who would have dreamt?
This will be maybe the biggest bomb of the year. This is looking like the biggest bomb of the year. Like one for the biggest or the second biggest, probably at the end of the year when all is counted up.
God damn. All right, well, let's move on. Yeah. F1. Like I said before, the fact they didn't release this on Father's Day is the stupidest botch of marketing imaginable. Instead, they're going to release it a week after Father's Day.
This is $200 million budget.
I think this will break even. I don't know that it's got like it. What this has going for it is this is a definite theater watch. Like if you're even halfway interested in this movie, you're probably thinking, I need to go see this in theaters. This is not a rental. It's going to look great in a theater. It's got serious dad TV energy. If you like Reacher, you're going to eat this shit up. My wife wants to see it. Not so much even that she thinks Brad Pitt is like a heartthrob anymore, but just that attitude, like that cocky guy, and they team up, and you know, it looks like a fun character drama. It just overall, this one, I think this is going to do well, especially in a packed season with a bunch of kind of mid-looking movies. This looks refreshing at the very least. It's not a sequel or a remake or any of that shit.
Then you got to think of the cost.
Yeah,
Sorry.
It's got Ford versus Ferrari vibes for me, which sort of came out of nowhere and was extremely low key, but then just really did well because people just liked it. And I think this is going to have the same kind of vibes. It's going to be cookie cutter. It's just going to be a trope fest, you know. The old veteran who's brought back against his will to shore up a company that's failing, and then there's a young upstart who's
a cocky young upstart. Echo.
Yeah. So all of that, it's going to be nothing but tropes, but it'll have some great action sequences.
Yeah, it might have some good action sequences, but with a $300 million budget, this has got to pull in
300 million.
Yeah, 300 million. It's got to pull in $1 billion.
No, it has a 200 million budget.
200, yeah, but you still need like 400 or 500 million, and that's that's a big ask for a movie like this. It might hit that 500, but that's
I don't know. I mean, Ford versus Ferrari only did 225 worldwide.
Oh, is that right?
I have to say, I think this will flop. I don't think that a non-IP movie that I hadn't even heard of until I decided to do this segment. There's no buzz for it, and it's non-IP, and the budget's just too high. I don't think this has $500 million in it. I think this thing's going to top out around. It won't be a big flop. It'll probably be a mild disappointment. It'll top out around 450 million. It'll still make money on, once it goes to rental, it won't have that much more to make. But I think this won't break even. It'll be just short. It would be my guess.
So, first of all, I need Z. How much did you say you think this needs to make?
I think it needs to
$500 million.
I need Z to say it a very specific way, though.
Oh yeah, true. It's been a while.
It has. I think this needs to make $1 billion.
Okay, now I can give my opinion. I had to hear that first.
Thanks for that.
So,
That's nice.
I do think that I'm kind of in the same spot as Despot, only because of the budget. I do think that this one thing that I think we're gonna see with this is the international interest is gonna severely exceed the American interest. F1 fans in Europe and even like down in like Brazil, they really love it.
Yeah.
So there might be some repeat views, some stuff like that, but I don't think it's going to be enough to make it a true profitable movie. Maybe break even, just kind of profitable, but probably closer to that like low grade flop.
You're right about that global dimension, because you could go into the studio if you don't speak English, you don't even need to, because you're just watching tropes on the screen, so you know what's going on. You know what I think it'll do? I think it's going to be towards the end. They're going to hint at the handing of the mantle to the young upstart guy for franchise potential, but they won't actually make a second film because it just doesn't quite warrant it. So that's what I think is going to happen.
Brad Pitt does. So a lot of people will always say like Tom Cruise is the last, real movie star. Brad Pitt's almost kind of in that area. He's like the next tier down of where he kind of grew out of the heartthrob era, and he took the acting seriously for a while. Then he fell off, and he's trying to make it back. So he still has some pull, whereas there's not many actors that do, but he still has one. So
I don't think
he might be able to get a little bit extra out of it.
Yeah, I don't think people are actually going to pay tickets to see Brad Pitt. Yeah, I just don't think he's going to pull.
I don't know. I think this is Moneyball, except on a racetrack, and I think there's an audience for that. He's basically playing the same kind of character.
There's definitely an audience for it. It's just not a $500 million audience.
No. Yeah. About 200 million, I think it's going to pull in. Plus, you got to think as well. You've got a lot of other movies to take your family with, because this looks like just a male-only audience. How many men just go to theaters by themselves or with their friends? But I'm talking about
He's got
pretty
a point.
much every
don't
Friday
go
morning. Like,
guys don't go as a
Well,
group, really, do they, to the cinema? Like 3 or 4 dudes who are friends, they don't tend to go to the cinema together.
Unless
I
it's like a
wouldn't.
big
If I was out with
box
3 lads, I just want to go for a fucking drink because I get to do it so rarely. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah,
That's
I
the
mean,
problem.
there's
like
not
the
as much of an
superhero
appeal.
films. The superhero films, you can take your wife, you can take your kids, you can take everyone with you. Whereas F1, it's like it's just a film for one guy to go in on his own.
Yeah, I
on
could
a
see.
saving
I
Monday.
mean, I could see the kids being bored with this one. You know,
So a question here, and I'm not trying to be funny, but genuinely, if they had Pedro Pascal in the lead role, would it break even?
it would make $1 billion. Easy.
Well, they would say that it made $1 billion. People, you'd see a lot of empty theaters, but for some reason, all the tickets are sold out. And they would cook the books for it. That's basically what would happen.
Yes.
So I don't agree that this is a guy-only movie. I think this is like this is a date movie right here. I think that with Brad Pitt being, the older experience, whatever, it's the competency porn part of it. I don't know if the other guy has a lot of draw, but I think that this doesn't seem so macho that a lot of girlfriends and wives are going to be like, I don't want to go see your stupid Lord of the Rings movie or whatever the fuck you want to take me to. But this, this seems like a fun one. And
there's a lot of European women F1 fans too. Like that's actually pretty popular amongst women in Europe. So
it's the vibrations.
I mean, whatever it may be, I don't care what the reasoning, but I've encountered, when I was on like flights before where I went on, and it was like an international flight, and I saw like women by themselves watching an F1 race. So like there is a market there for that. Now, how much that's going to push it up, I don't know.
I think this will do well on streaming. I mean, this is a good streaming choice. If you're just scrolling through the streaming stuff and you go, yeah, it's Brad Pitt, it's racing, good sequence, I could check this on. I think it'll do well.
Which streaming service is this?
I don't know.
Is it made by Apple or is it made by
director of top
Apple?
Top
I think
Maverick. So
let's see. Yeah, I think it'll hang in there.
So will it make its money back on the streaming? Because Apple isn't really that big. Because they always have these massive budgets for these shows that don't have much return.
Yeah, it'll trickle over making its budget after being on streaming for ages. That's what I think will happen.
Oh, this is a Jerry Bruckheimer film, like his production company. I wasn't expecting to see that when I clicked on this.
That sounds like a time warp kind of name. God.
Yeah, distributed by Warner Brothers. That's really but it is an Apple film.
Let's move on here. Megan 2.0. I didn't know about this. Despot, what do you think?
Oh, that's an easy win. It's only $35 million budget, and M3gan made a lot of money. So M3gan 2.0, that's such an easy win. This thing clears 100 million easily. So this is going to be a massively profitable movie.
Yeah, it might be the most profitable movie of the year, actually, in terms of like dollar for dollar.
Yeah.
How can they up the stakes in terms of spectacle and silliness?
I mean, I watched the trailer for this, and first of all, so M3gan's all grown up now. So she asks for a new body, or some fucking AI asks for a new body. It's a bit confusing. And then they put her in this sort of adolescent body. It looks like a kind of 16-year-old girl. And obviously, let's just call a spade here. They're going for sex appeal. And that is going to have a bigger audience pool. I think they're really trying to grow the franchise because the trailers, in the trailer, it seems like there's an AI, a rogue AI inhabiting some sort of super powerful robot body, and it's going nuts and it's going to conquer the world. And then they have to bring Megan back and put her in this adolescent body to stop the AI.
It's really basically Terminator 2. It's Terminator 2. She's the T-1000.
Actually, I was going to say, I was going to say it had real like Ghost of the Shell vibes to it, like the way that's like we have this AI that's been put in this body that's able to do a lot of things, but a little bit of everything.
You're right. I didn't want to say this, but there is some weird morbid sexual dimension to it. I can't quite put my finger on it. There's something in there.
It's very
Buffy vibes.
It's something that people would be shy about saying out loud because she does look like a teenage girl in this. I mean, I've seen girls like 13 that look like that just from being a teacher because I've taught over 1,000 students, and so it's something people would shy away from saying. But I think it's there. It's subtle. It's in the marketing, and it's going to help this movie sell.
There's something like morbidly lurid, that kind of TikTok sexuality, morbid lurid quality in this somewhere.
TikTok. It's very zeitgeist. It's very zeitgeist.
Yeah,
TikTok is
very much.
exactly the right word to describe the sort of visual
Yeah.
look that they've
Yeah, I
got
think
here and
this
the
is going to
poster that
be
they've
this is
gone
going to
with.
be huge.
Yeah, this will be big,
and you're going to
man.
have a massive audience with very different motivations and interests in it. And I think that's cool. That's what you want from a zeitgeist film. I think this is going to do gangbusters.
Anybody think this
Agreed.
is going to flop?
No.
Given that
No,
the
no,
budget
this is
is
definitely
$5?
going to be a
No.
success.
When does it release?
Fuck knows. This summer.
The trailer just came out, so I'm going to guess that it probably comes out toward the beginning of August. Let me see.
Yeah, it's sometime
And
this summer.
There's also something in
27th
there
of
about
June.
AI, modern AI tensions and sexuality as well. There's some interesting little strains
Yeah,
in there. So
it
I
is.
think-
It is very.
Oh wow, it's the
zeitgeist.
end of June. Wow. Okay, they
Ah.
really are. They're crunching it down. I thought it would be at least 6 weeks from now.
Yeah. You know what's weird is that some of these but Companion did not do well. I just looked that up because it reminded me very much of that with the whole AI girlfriend, trying to do the sex appeal, but it's a murder bot thing. I mean, it was only 10 million for that one and it made 35. So it's not like they, went broke or anything, but 37 million dollars is not a ton for that one. But this one does have a little bit of already kind of word of mouth following because it's a sequel, but I don't know. I don't know that it's going to be like the $150 million juggernaut.
No, it's definitely going to make a profit. It's definitely going to be big. It's going to be splashy and zeitgeist. I'm just interested to whether or not media has the cojones to sort of explore those themes that Despot and I are touching on, because they are there, but I don't think that'll quite make it into the conversation, but it'll do well. So it'll be fascinating to watch. Yeah. T-1000 crossed with Chucky. Huge amount of money there. So good idea. Okay. All right. God damn it. I'm so sick of these fucking films. $1 billion. It makes $1 billion. Whatever.
Of course, it fucking does. One day, man. One day, one of these stupid fucking Jurassic monster movies is gonna bomb. But unfortunately, it's not gonna be this one.
You're right.
Weird.
One day, just out of nowhere, we won't know why and we won't know when. But one of these things will just unaccountably flop. It's going to happen one day.
This is $180 million budget.
It's quite small, actually.
I was gonna say it's weird. This one is reviving midnight shows, at least near me. I don't know if it's for everybody, but there hasn't been midnight shows since the Dark Knight Rises incident years ago. And when I saw that this had a midnight showing, I was legitimately shocked that this was the movie that they brought it back for.
What else can they do? Is it going to be exciting on the screen? Because the CGI in these things always looks underwhelming to me. I never get a sense of scale or depth or weight or heft from the dinosaurs. And with the budgets, they should be able to do that. That's what you want to pay for.
I had a thought about the Jurassic movies. They were ahead of their time in that when all the other major franchises went woke, Jurassic Park went slop. And that's why it was so successful.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right. It's remained a very, very cookie cutter kind of. It's very white, the franchise. It's remained that way the whole way through. You're right. It just occurred to me. I
was way off base. I thought the general consensus was that the Jurassic World movies were like a laughingstock, and I thought that this Rebirth was going to do well because they are pretty much kind of disavowing it, and they're like, "We're kicking it off. It's brand new island. You don't need Chris Pratt or any of that shit." I just looked it up. The Fallen whatever Kingdom was like 1.3 billion, and Dominion made $1 billion. Crazy. I had no idea the Jurassic World movies were so popular.
Oh, dinosaurs. Kids want to see dinosaurs, and then you're buying 4 tickets at a time. It builds up. Yeah.
They do so well at the cinema. People stuff popcorn in their mouths and they have a good time and it's slop. And then 5 minutes after the movie's done, everybody forgets about them and nobody remembers them. It's pure slop.
Yeah, they are. But I looked up this one a little bit, and apparently they are trying to get back to the Jurassic World semi-horror. They're trapped on the island. They're being hunted by these dinosaurs. It's not Chris Pratt training raptors and shit. So apparently this one is trying to get a little bit back to the roots, and it's trying to reboot everything. You don't have to have watched Dominion or Fallen, whatever, Fallen Kingdom.
Fallen Kingdom, yeah. That was the one that I checked out.
Chris Pratt's amazing skill to be able to raise a hand in the air in a deterring gesture to make a T-Rex tilt its head, analytically, and then come to a stop.
Birth of 1,000 memes. I think this one's going to kill it. This one will be well over $1 billion. I mean, it's just.
I think in 5 years they'll just go pure slop, and there'll be a film where it's
I think when
King Kong versus Jurassic Park genre IP crossover, putting Godzilla there to Godzilla Jurassic Park crossover, $2 billion.
Yeah, this thing, the Jurassic franchise, another smart thing that it's done is it has not oversaturated. So this franchise hasn't released 35 TV series on Disney
That's
Plus.
True. Yeah, that's true.
So it's a rare thing, and they've been very smart about that. So I will give them credit for that. They've been smart about how they've handled the franchise from a purely business perspective.
Yeah,
I
they're
really
just far enough.
personally-
They're like 2 or 3 years apart. It's just enough to build it back up to being an event. They've got that timing perfect.
I'm a little
Yeah.
shocked that they didn't go with Jurassic Park Rebirth to kind of distance it from Jurassic World after the way. I know that they were financially successful, but critically and, you know, whatever, like the general audiences by the end of the Jurassic World movies were pretty much like, these are not good, even though they're making a lot of money. So I'm surprised they didn't call this Jurassic Park Rebirth. And I said that the first time I heard it, and I'm still shocked. But yeah, I mean, I'll watch it, and I'll go into it with an open mind. I'm going to try to, you know, do I want to see the Rancor T-Rex thing? No, but like,
Yeah.
I'll try to give this one a shot, because at least it's not another superhero movie. That's the best way I can put it.
Why are they so reticent about not having the dinosaurs actually in cities rampaging? Why are they so reticent?
They tried that in Lost World, and it was kind of silly.
Yeah.
They
It's
did that.
because I mean, there's lots of reasons. As far as plot, once a dinosaur gets into the city, it's either it dies straight away or it goes on a rampage. Those are your two options. Another one is that it loses the aesthetic. The aesthetic of Jurassic World is that sort of Amazon jungle. What's the word I'm looking for?
Isolation.
Equator. That sort of
okay.
equator jungle look, and that's a big part of it. That aesthetic. So you don't want to make it urban. It has to be jungle aesthetic.
Think of the memes. You're not thinking about the memes. Like imagine the hipsters in Brooklyn,
Tatooine.
and they've got their iced coffee latte, and then the iced coffee latte starts to tremble every 2 or 3 seconds, like the memes. Come on.
The dinosaurs actually, they lose their advantage in the city, because now you're just going to get the National Guard to show up and just shoot the shit out of them, and it's not that big of a deal.
Awesome. Take my money.
But then the movie ends. It's the advantage
once they enter the
terrain
city,
goes away.
It's not a Jurassic World movie anymore. It's a Godzilla movie. No.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Which they're going to have to. They're going to have that crossover. They'll have to do the Kong X Jurassic World. The dinosaur has some kind of cybernetic prosthetic. What they'll do is they'll make on the memes. They'll have the Tyrannosaurus have long arms, and it'll just mop the floor with everybody. It'll be great.
Didn't Vin Diesel say he wanted to do a Jurassic World Fast and Furious like crossover at some point? I could have swore I remember hearing something about that.
Dinosaurs in space in cars.
I don't know, but you could make it comedic. You know, you have like Texas rodeos, and they have to like lasso a little velociraptor or something like that, and you know, it could be good. I don't know. Anyway, so it's going to make a huge shit ton of money. That's basically the bottom line. Okay, Superman. Now this is going to be huge divergences here, because I wouldn't have the slightest. I don't know. They've kept it under wraps. No one really knows what the film is. It could be anything. I don't know.
And for that reason, I don't think it's going to do well. I think at this point, if you've seen the trailers, it is either a really dumb kids movie with a stupid looking dog bouncing all over Superman and it's slapstick humor, or it's really trying to appeal to, you know, 40s, 50s, 60s guys. Hey, it's the classic Superman. We got whatever, Mr. Terrific and Hawkman and all this, or you know, comic accurate fucking bowl cut on Green Lantern, which my brother had when I was a child. You've got like it. I don't know who this movie's appealing to, and I don't think anybody else is either. And it's possible that it is. There it is. It's possible.
I'm a huge Green Lantern fan.
It's trying to appeal to literally every demographic at the same time, and it's not going to work out. It's I'm thinking 600 million, just because of the name recognition, but I don't think it's going to wow anybody. I also don't think women are going to see this. Like, this guy is not old enough to look mature and sexy, but he also is not young enough to appeal to late teens, early 20s, younger girls. And so it's kind of Smallville. It's certainly not Dean Cain. It's certainly not I don't think that he's going to be like a real female draw either. It's very meh. It's very meh. It's going to be, I'm going to go 600 million.
Four-quadrant film that actually has no center to it and ends up appealing not especially to anyone. So I think a huge opening weekend and then a massive second and third week drop-offs is kind of what I'm predicting.
Yeah.
Probably.
Reaper, what do you think?
I think it'll be quite similar to the Batman, where I think it'll get like 700, 800 million. The people who like it will say it's the best thing ever. Where I think at most it'll be a mid-film. It's got some quite serious competition with Jurassic World and Fantastic Four, which comes out a week later. But I think it'll crawl to about 700 million.
Yeah, I agree with Reaper. I think this thing just about does enough to break even. It does look like a very middling film. The more I see of it, it's not that I hate it or I dislike it. I'll go in, I'll give it a chance. It looks fine, but there are elements of it that look very, very James Gunn, and it probably I'm guessing that it will just come off as a kind of dated superhero movie that really reveals the superhero genre as finished. But I still think it will just about make money, but it won't make much money, and it will be the beginning of the full-on end of the superhero genre, because the era is over. The superhero era ended in 2023 with big bombs like The Flash and Shazam 2, the Marvels. But this will be the end of the genre. It begins with this movie not doing particularly well. But I do think it has enough. It'll have just enough juice in it to get to 700 million, I think.
Well, you got to think the marketing campaign is being huge. They've even got signed up by the Eiffel Tower. So I think on just marketing alone, it will get there. But the interesting thing is you've got the Superman thing that's coming out, and you've also got Fantastic Four. Which do you think will do better than the other? Because I think this one will beat Fantastic Four.
I think they're going to do relatively comparable.
Like I said, I think Superman gets the bigger opening weekend, but then Marvel gets the bigger, more consistent 2 or 3 after that. I think for me, the problem is James Gunn has brought too much Marvel with him, and this is going to feel more like a Marvel film than a DC film. And with DC, you want it to be big and mythic. That's kind of like DC's wheelhouse and vibe. And I don't think they're going to achieve that with this. And DC just never or hardly ever seems to be able to stick the landing to deliver its own DNA on the screen. They got there with Wonder Woman, but hardly anything else. Deliver its DNA on the screen. I'm sorry for that reference.
What do you think? C-3PO?
I don't want another Guardians of the Galaxy, Suicide Squad, or Peacemaker. Everything James Gunn does is just quippy little team stories. It's like he's turned into a modern-day Joss Whedon. And I found the CGI in the trailer to be shonky as hell. And I think at the moment, I think superhero fatigue is starting to set in. I think this is only going to... well, maybe we're at the end stage at the moment. But also, I think as YouTubers become quite jaded when we're overanalyzing these things, it might do absolutely gangbusters with the normies. But who knows? It's really one of those things that could go either way. But this doesn't suffer from the same thing that Fantastic Four does. Is every time they announce something new about it, the less I want to see it. Whereas this one, I still want to go and see.
Well, Z raises an interesting point. Like, are we missing the fact that normies these days, this might be exactly what they want. This might be their idea of masculinity. This might be the idea of what going to the cinema means. This might be their idea of a big, entertaining popcorn flick. Maybe they're not into deeper myths or deeper themes.
No, he's right, which is why this thing does get the 700 million. But the reason it doesn't do much better is because of just the competition. There's so many movies that are about to hit that are going to be pulling people that are going to be competing for people's money, and it's the calendar. If it was releasing on its own with no competition, probably do much better. But with that competition, I really don't see how it gets beyond 700 million.
Yeah.
Well, the question then, go ahead, Greg.
Well, I just think there's a thing about it that just grabs you. Like, It's Superman, so there are people. I'm with Z. Like, I want to go see it. I'm interested in it. I don't have huge high hopes or anything, but I think a lot of the audience doesn't know who it's supposed to be for. They don't know if it's for them. Like I said, it's got a wide range, and so that trepidation is going to cause them to pick something else or just wait for reviews. And then you know how that momentum goes, where you're just like, well, I'll see it next weekend, and then you don't, and it's not one of those movies that you see the preview and you're like, fuck yes, I have. What's the day? I'm marking it on my calendar. I'm going to go see that. It just doesn't have thatness to it, and so it won't exceed these big numbers.
So the question then becomes: is 700 million enough to keep the DC thing rolling with James Gunn's extended things that flow from it? What's the number that he has to hit in order to get that rolling?
This has got a budget of 400 million.
Does that include marketing?
Includes I don't think so, because it got leaked the tax return saying the film cost 400 million. Ooh. I think the marketing's more than that.
Yeah, it has to
well,
be.
I mean, if the budget is 400 million, then it's a certain flop.
Yeah,
because the budget I got was 225 million, which, to be fair, I didn't believe. I thought it would cost more than that. But if it's 400 million, there's no way it makes money. Not a chance.
But
another effect.
Go ahead. Sorry. He's already got the plans in the state. He's already filming the Lanterns TV show. So even if it fails, he's already got all these other projects on the. So whether or not DC is a failure, we're still going to get loads more of it.
So I know it's a little late to be bringing this in, but do you think this or Jurassic World or any like Elio, do you think any of these make money not just on rentals but on merch? Do you think that there's going to be a Superman Lego sets that this is going to generate and people are going to want? Do you think there's going to be Jurassic World Lego sets? Do you think Elio is going to sell little purple balls?
Superman, I will say Superman, yes, because it's already a popular merch thing that a lot of people will buy just because of the logos and stuff. It might not, and they might not buy it because it's attached to the movie, just because it's Superman. There's Superman collectors. There's that being said, I mean, this movie has just so much working against it. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this where the more is released. So like the very first video that I tried to do a trailer react video on this, and it's actually really annoying. And I said we were judging it too harshly on its first trailer, right? And then they just kept like releasing stuff, more and more and more stuff. And it's at this point, I almost feel it's so saturated. I almost don't. I'm always like, just come out already, so I can stop seeing this shit. And
is it a new thing that I've seen that you have a teaser trailer, a main trailer, and then 2 or 3 5 or 10 second trailers after that? Is that a new thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if I would call it new, but I miss the days of that like guerrilla style, minimalist marketing that was pretty cool for a while, where if you knew about something ahead of time, it was pretty cool, and if not, you heard about it word of mouth. And I almost wish they would go back to that, but they can't do that with Superman. It has to be this bombastic, larger than life personality, unfortunately, and that's not what I'm really feeling anymore. When the first trailer, I sort of felt like that. Now I'm like, okay, you keep telling me to see something I don't want to see. Obviously I have to.
In a weird kind of way, I feel like I've already watched the film because I've just seen so much Superman content with all the stuff. But another factor is China. Spider-Man and Batman are huge in China. They really like them. But Superman doesn't connect with the Chinese nearly as much. They see it as like an American, very sort of pro-nationalistic kind of figure that doesn't resonate with Chinese audiences. So I think they're going to be modest on that front as well, which is the last thing they need. But that's another thing to chuck in there.
It's the human way now. It's no longer the American way. Don't worry. All humans are.
All right. I know what you did last summer. These things just keep on going. They won't die.
I love how they don't even bother to change the names either. They just keep recycling the name of. I know.
Yeah. It looks like for the casting call, they just grabbed the first 5 people in line and just said, "Okay, you'll do."
Yeah, and this thing cost $20 million, and just from this screenshot, I can see the budget.
Shit.
I can see how low budget this thing. I even did a video on this, on these shameless horror cash grabs, these low budget horror cash grabs. Another one was like The Exorcist Believer. Fucking awful. Looked terrible. And cost like $5. And of course it's going to make money. Of course, do you know what? A lot. This is actually their business model. It is so cheap that it makes its money back on opening weekend, and by the time word gets out that it's fucking awful, it's doesn't matter. They've already made their money. That's the business model that's used for Halloween, the Halloween movies as well. With what's her tits. This thing is
Jamie Lee
following that
Curtis?
same model. Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis. This thing is following that same model. Cheap, like look at the fucking costumes. Even they just went to the local mall.
Yeah, I'm looking at that costume.
Discount rack.
It looks like those pants on the far right are CGI'd onto him.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
And sorry, not even CGI, like Microsoft Paint.
He showed up. He showed up to the fucking set, and he said to the director, "Look, man, I don't have any pants." He said, we'll fix it in post. Just film the fucking scene."
Yeah.
So, I know that you guys were saying like guys don't usually do a big, guys group, but I do think you'll have a lot of millennial women that will go see this as a group. This will be like a girls' night out. Let's go relive. I know what you did last summer.
Yeah, this is an easy one. This is an easy 80 million, 100 million. This makes its money easy.
Yeah. The guy on the left almost has old man pants and they're hitched up really high up. Strange. Oh God.
Fuck. It does look shocking, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks
I'm
appalling.
guessing
How
the
many
one
of these
that
things have
hasn't
they
got
turfed up?
I don't know. But I'm guessing the one in the denim jacket is going to be the one who's left at the end.
It's
Yeah,
the
oh, yeah,
incongruity of it as
Sexualized
well.
one.
Like the girl in the blue dress looks like a sort of trailer trash wedding maid, and then the girl next to her looks like a British slag wearing her best for a night out. It's totally incongruous.
Yeah, I would have said like Staten Island, but I get what you're saying.
Tottering on her high heels, clopping down the main street in Manchester. Yeah, I see what you mean. God damn it. All right, well, good luck to them, I guess. All right.
Oh man, it looks fucking awful, doesn't it?
It's a giant flop.
This is such
giant
a
flop.
bomb.
Definitely.
Man, bomb written all over.
Bomb. What's the budget on this?
Well, so
it's
you
huge.
sent over, or Despot sent over 2 to 250, but I think that's old info because they just
I think
had
that's a
these
lie.
emergency reshoots. They got emergency CGI. I wouldn't be shocked if it was 350 to 400 million at this point. They don't know what to do, and they're desperately trying to salvage this shit the same way they did with the Brave New World. And it's going to be 3-4 movies in one, the same as all the previous MCU movies have been, as they try to backpedal in emergency mode.
But remember, it crashed the AMC app. Never forget that.
Yeah, I am so sure that's true.
Just too much stuff with the guy who's the hotshot ladies man, but who's actually insecure. Sue Storm is now posited as the leader of the group. Too much Pedro Pascal. There's just these little jabs, and these jabs mount up.
The other thing is, I've watched all the trailers for this, and it looks shit. It just looks like a bad movie. There's nothing exciting about it. There's nothing that makes me think I want to see that. I watched all the trailers for all the movies that we're discussing today. I watched most of them, and there's some of them I really think, like F1. I could see F1. I think I could have a good time with that. Just speaking as a movie fan, not necessarily as a YouTuber, I would go to see that. 28 years later, my wife wants to see that. Like she's really looking forward to that. I think that the trailers for this, they just look shit. It looks like a bad movie. There's no way this thing's making $1 billion, and that's what it needs.
Well, they're trying to be so bland and inoffensive that the only thing they can come up with is family. That's all the film's going to be about, is people just saying family every 20 minutes, in case you don't notice the themes.
Yeah, the aesthetic is too soft. But is there a huge horde of vulgar, shallow people who might go and see this? But they might be put off a little bit by the fact that they don't know the backstory, they don't know the context enough, and it's going to be difficult for them to engage.
Well, Fantastic Four has a fairly simple backstory that can be told in about 30 seconds. We went in space, we got hit with cosmic rays, we have powers. It's really not that, it's the same as Spider-Man. I got bit by a spider, I have powers. Like, you don't really need to go in depth. You could say it even in flashbacks or whatever.
That was the massive problem with Fant Four Stick. Fant Four Stick took an hour to do its premise. Fant Four Stick's fucking brilliant, man. I was trying to watch it the other night. It goes over an hour without an action scene, like the first hour.
God. Do you think if this came out a year after Guardians 1, then the culture zeitgeist vibe might have been really open and receptive to it, but now it just kind of feels like, this isn't
Well,
the
you've
right
had
place.
bomb after bomb. Like, how many failures have they had after Infinity War? You had
mean
only
Endgame?
Spider-Man. Yeah, Endgame. Spider-Man was the only one.
And that's not
And
even
then-
that's not even MC, that's not even Disney. That's Sony. So,
Yeah.
and well, what is it? Didn't Multiverse of Madness made money? But that was pretty much off of the goodwill of Spider-Man.
But it was
then
hated.
Deadpool and Wolverine made a ton of money. It was the
Yeah,
highest-
that's
was
that's
an
another
LSPL
one.
story. That feels like a different thing. Like a
But for
gimmick as
every one
well.
of those, you've got an Eternals or a Black Widow.
Mm.
The
Yeah,
Marvel-
there's been a 70% flop rate.
The Marvels was actually the biggest box office bomb of all time, but I think Snow White probably surpassed it, actually.
Yeah. I have a feeling Entertainment Shill Media is going to go into super overdrive trying to promote this and get it going. So what do you think budget? How much money is it going to make?
450.
Or what? 450? Jeez, that's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
low.
I was gonna say about
Captain
500.
Name
I
recognition.
mean,
There are people that
Captain
just they're
Cape shit.
diehards for F4. They're going to go see it, but I think the wider MCU audience, just more and more people are just getting bored, and they're going to go, I'll rent this later, or I'll wait for the same thing. I'll wait for the reviews. The momentum takes over. They don't actually see it. The word of mouth gets out that Human Torch is what if he's not the Chris Evans womanizer? What the fuck is he even doing here in this ensemble? Like he's going to blend into the background. He's going to be so boring.
Looks
It's
like
kind
Draco
of
Malfoy.
funny. It's kind of funny because for a while, Disney didn't have the rights to Fantastic Four IP for movies and such, obviously. And they did their damnedest to kill them as an IP. Not only they gave them no official support, they pulled them from like their games, they pulled them from the official encyclopedia, the Marvel encyclopedia. They were putting the worst writers they possibly could on the Fantastic Four comics just to make, and eventually they basically tanked this IP themselves. Then they got it back and they're like, fuck, well, now we have to do something. Pedro Pascal. But and that's kind of where we're at. They're trying to rebuild a thing that they fucked themselves. It's hilarious.
Does anyone think this is going to? Does anyone on the panel think this is going to make money?
Not at all.
No.
The one thing it's got in its favor is they have, I think, tried hard to focus the aesthetic, color scheme, aesthetic and tone of the look. I think they have tried to narrow it down to an extent like that. It does have that in its favor, but I don't think it's.
You've also got Galactus.
overall.
People are interested to see what he looks like. But I was looking up the movies that have come out this year, which is Captain America: Brave New World, which made 415 million, and Thunderbolts, which made 379 million.
And they were both shite. And that's the other thing. It's the brand damage. Like the Marvel Shieldom can about the Thunderbolts all they want. That movie's bollocks, and it gets worse the more I think about it. The brand damage is there, and people are just. That's to say nothing of the fucking TV shows.
Yeah.
And the competition that this movie is going up against, and the fucking fact that the trailers look shit. This thing has no hope.
Well,
I'm going to be a bit more positive. I'm going to say 500. I'm going to be a bit more.
That's what I was going to say. 500 was about what I was
It's still a flop.
it is a flop still, but that's the number I was.
It's still a flop. Yeah.
Optimistic. It's going to flop slightly less.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's funny because someone just pointed out in the chat. This comes out basically right at the tail end of Ironheart, so they may have this massive negativity. They're already working up like a hill. They're already going up an uphill battle, but there might be a sludge of just shit coming down the hill as they're going that they're going to have to now tread over. There's a possibility that it does do even worse than originally anticipated if Ironheart is as bad as we all expect.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Brave New World was an abomination, and I got 400 million. Everyone knew that movie was going to be a piece of shit. Still made 400 million. There's still some life in the Marvel brand, so I think 500 million.
Yeah, but you're talking about
you're
still talking about a 70% drop off from what their average used to be.
Yeah. If they could get back to making $100 million movies, they would be crushing it. Honestly, they can't get out of their own way with just burning piles of cash on these garbage movies.
They'll never be able to do that because that's the Disney model. Like, they're not A24, it's Disney. Disney do their audience test screens and their reshoots and their last minute reshoots. That's just how they operate.
Yeah.
That's their business model.
It makes the movies so bad. Like, it's ironic because it's fucking them on both ends. It makes the movies bad. It costs so much money. Like, yeah, I don't, this is another one that I'm not sure who it's for, because if anything, the MCU needs to be trying to get new fans, but this mid-century modern, futuristic 60s vibe, like that's a millennial dream. That's 50s, people in their 50s are like, I want that house. I want to live in the Andrew Lloyd Webber house. Like, I want to live in fucking the waterfall house.
They needed to do this as a period piece, unfortunately, because of the fact of who it is. You can't just randomly drop the Fantastic Four in now in where the MCU is. You need to put it in the past, and then you have to somehow transport them to the now. Same thing that they're probably going to have to end up doing with X-Men. There's no way that you can just be like, well, they've been here all along. You have to trump up some weird way to get them involved.
Mm-hmm. So fucking at both ends, Requiem for a Dream kind of analogy there. And Därkhour, that head isn't getting any bigger, is it, on thing?
Oh, no, the head, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Here's the thing about him. He's supposed to be bigger. I mean, he's not going to be Hulk size, but he's probably supposed to be, I'm not going to bother. But I have plenty of Thing books, and he's usually fairly large compared to a car. He looks like he could fit into, a mid-size sedan right there. He'd be a little cramped, but he looks like he could fit into it. I mean, the rest of the cast is practically taller than him. His head is kind of small. The shoulder, I mean, accurate, like the eyebrow, like that is accurate. Like if you just zoom in on his face, it looks good. And then you see the whole package, and he just doesn't. It doesn't. I don't think he could fight the Hulk, and that he's supposed to be one of the Hulk's rivals. Well, maybe he can fight the Mark Ruffalo Hulk, but he couldn't fight the Edward Norton Hulk.
His voice is also too soft as well.
They also didn't give him that like Lower East Side pseudo Brooklyn accent.
Oh yeah. The Yancey Street accent that's completely missing from this character.
Yeah. Most people, so I've even done it where I kind of call it a Brooklyn accent because it's right across the Brooklyn Bridge. It's very similar to a Brooklyn accent, and it's just not there. That's a huge part of his character. His whole thing is he represents that. He's also, I mean, one of the things I'm very curious to see how much they play up the fact that he's Jewish in the current modern.
I don't know. Not at all.
Yeah, like that's actually kind of a big deal for Ben Grimm that he's Jewish. So I'm a little.
I had no idea. Wow.
Well, wait till they split the bill. Wait till they split the bill and see which way he goes.
Man, my hands just can't fit in my pockets. I don't know. They're too big. These hands.
Tipping for this service, oi.
That was great because you did a Northern England Arnold Schwarzenegger before, which I thought was exotic. But now hearing a Northern England Jewish impersonation, that was also magic. Great. Anyway, is this $1 billion here?
No.
Looking for good?
What did the last one make?
Good question.
All the money.
It'll probably make more than the last one only because it's part 2. And
the last one made 756 million.
All right, so I put this one in like the 800 to 900 range. I think that the part 2s of movies that were well received by their who they were trying to appeal to generally do better. So I'll put this in that range.
This will be a resounding success. Actually, I did watch this one later after we talked about it. It was not bad. I could tell that it was slow, like they were stretching shit out, but I still didn't mind it. It was I've never seen the play, or the musical. I didn't know what to expect, but I had a pretty good time.
I had no idea what was coming up when I went to see this, and I went with the wife and my youngest daughter, and the inner gay in me came out. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I cannot wait for this, but I think it's going to do more than the first one. So 800, 850, I think.
This is a very easy one.
We can be anti-woke. We can be anti-woke, but we can also be, these two actresses are batshit crazy, flaky people, but we love them. It's fine. It's okay in this context.
I can only imagine the press tour for the next one. They went off the deep end. I don't know how the hell they could possibly go higher and crazier. And
it works though. It's because they're. Look at Fantastic Four. You've got 4 boring fucking people cast in these roles, and guess what? It's a boring fucking movie, almost certainly. Here you've got 2 really bizarre, eccentric women who are so nuts that it's actually negatively affecting their health, and mentally and physically. and it creates fucking dynamism on screen. Like, they are fucking
Yeah.
awesome together. Like, I loved Wicked, no homo. I loved it, and I'm looking forward to the sequel.
I got annihilated on B-Sub for saying it wasn't bad.
Everybody wanted it to be bad, but it's just a great movie. It's so
I wasn't even like, this
enjoyable.
is great.
well
I was like, I
directed.
literally said it's not bad. It's okay. It's, if you like the play, you'll love this. And people were like, oh, look at Därkhour. He's
As I'm a theater kid. I liked it.
I
The
did
only
some
thing that bothered me is they wouldn't shut the fuck up during the music. It's like, do you guys not know what a musical does? A musical thing is plot. You don't have to stop the music to have dialogue. That's what the fucking song does in a musical.
The play does have a lot of. They did it more in the movie. The play does have moments like that where they kind of just stop in the middle of the song. They break up the song into several smaller parts and then have little acted sections between them. So that was relatively accurate.
But I just want to remind the panel that Wicked didn't win the Golden Globe for Best Musical. It lost to Emilia Perez.
What?
From penis to vagina. Come on. But, the original Wizard of Oz, it was very gay themed, very gay coded. And there would have been millions of people, in the Midwest, closeted all throughout America, who would have seen the color and the light and the spectacle and the campness of it. And they would have found, they would have seen something in it and they would have gravitated towards it and it would have stirred up their dreams. And so it does have that kind of gay context to it. So all power to them. Let them have great heavy shovelfuls of campness and queerness.
Oh, yeah.
Go for it. So $1 billion? No,
Not a billion.
800 million?
Just shy of $1 billion. I would say
800
850.
something, I would guess.
Yeah.
700. It'll make
Okay.
a ton, though.
Oh, fucking hell.
This thing's going to make $2 billion. Does anyone on the
Really?
panel think this doesn't make all the money?
I don't understand it. I've never met a
No.
single person who's like seen
Yeah.
the movies. Like, I don't.
It's weird.
What did the
Uh,
last
So
one
is that
make?
an official image from the press team, or was that just like a fan-made thing?
I don't know. It could be fan made, but this could actually be visually quite awesome. I don't know. I could
Good
enjoy watching this.
The Way of Water thing made $2.3 billion. How?
God.
I don't.
Because
I haven't met a
globally-
single person who saw it, so
No.
it has to be
Yeah.
elsewhere.
And I've seen it. It was called Fern fucking Gully, and it was much better back then when Meg Ryan was in it. Like this, who is watching this shit?
My favorite thing is the joke was, when it came out, everyone mistook it for Avatar: The Last Airbender movie, and then he's slowly adding all the elements. So first it was obviously the woods, the earth, and then it was water, fire, so we're gonna do a wind one, and then he's like, I've stolen. It's gonna get to the end, and he's gonna have successfully, stealthily stolen a property.
Mm. But why not end it as a trilogy with this? Why do another 3 after this? I don't
Because
get
they
it.
make
Because
$2
money.
billion.
Yes, strange stuff.
But
Anyway,
it has
so-
zero cultural impact. How can
Yeah,
people
none.
go and rewatch these movies over and over and over
No,
again
I
and not
I
tell
don't
you the
think that's
plot?
true. I think
Yeah.
that Avatar has had a ton of cultural impact, just not necessarily in a good way. The first Avatar is solely responsible for the 3D cinema craze, which was a
Mhm.
fucking blight. That 3D cinema thing ran from 2009 and just sort of died out in 2013. I remember it did my fucking head in. I hated those 3D movies, like those disgusting glasses. I remember I walked out of a theater and it was a 3D movie, and I gave the glasses to one of the the assistants, whatever you call them, ushers, and he just threw it into a big bucket full of glasses, and I just thought, fuck me, like
Yeah.
40 people will wear them and they won't get washed, and just oh god, it was but anyway, 3D cinema. Thank God it's dead. It was awful. But that was the cultural impact of Avatar. It caused
but
that
that's-
fucking 3D cinema.
That's more of a
for-
technical aspect. That's more Hollywood's reacting to it.
I
I'm
know,
talking
but
about
that
the
was
actual
still
people.
culture. That was still
Nobody-
culture for 3 or 4
But
years. And then
nobody
apparently
quotes the movie.
the attraction, like the Disneyland attraction for Avatar Land or whatever they call it, is very popular. It's one of the most popular in Disneyland.
I could see when the first one came out, it was technologically, it was just crazy. And so everybody went to see it. I got that part of it. And then when the second one came out, it was, it was like a cultural thing. You just don't want to miss out seeing Avatar, even though I did on the Way of the Water one.
Yeah,
I just would have thought by now the novelty and the like the mob the group, like we should all just go see it. It's a big thing. Like I don't know. I thought that would have worn off, and I'm
the red night,
genuinely
Greg.
kind of shocked that it
Greg,
hasn't.
the red night. It's different.
But didn't you say this before with Jurassic World? They sparse these movies out long enough that people
Just
will go
long
and
enough,
see
yeah.
them. Yeah.
Anyway, so that I don't want to talk about Sinners. I think I need to charge up my batteries and just like devote a whole stream to it because I've got thoughts. I think we might actually just leave it there. I want to do some super chats. So I'll just go through
If you
these.
didn't like it, and you're wrong, and I understand it's hard being wrong.
Yeah, no, and Greg, I'm with Greg on this. It's not easy to admit that you're the intellectual inferior of your co-hosts. So it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Hemorrhoid hurts for $2 of ambiguous currency, which might be Australian. Thank feck, bro. Been missing in some echo and panel, bro. I don't know what my accent even was then, but that's it. So good to see you, HH, as always. And let me see, we got M8566, Doyen of the channel, gifted 5 Echo Chamberlain memberships. So thanks for that. We appreciate it as always. Kind of building up the memberships here. It's nice. Nice to have a little group of them around. Grifted 5 Greg Owen memberships as well.
Grifted?
You almost
Grifted them?
Grifted.
That's what I do. I'm a grifter. Jeez, come on now.
That was...
So nice one. Thanks for that. Hemorrhoid hurts again, $5. Okay, did I just hear seminal fluid? Yes, you did. Relating to or denoting semen over the chassis. Yes, you did. I hope so, because I just pulled my pants off. Well, I hope you didn't. But yes, you did hear that in the intro. So, Greg, you're currently co-streaming with me. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. Is Despot not doing it too?
I don't think he's on today. Yeah.
Oh,
not today.
Yeah, we are co-streaming it up.
John Evans for $5. Why the same small circulation of guests? Mix it up. No offense. It'd just be refreshing to see people like Gary, Az, Gundam, or anyone from EFAP. Well,
no
I don't
offense,
know,
guys. You fucking suck.
I haven't been on in ages.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't been on for at least 3 months.
Gundam is he's my white whale. I'd love to get him on one day. I don't think it'll ever happen, but I've tried sending him.
He's impossible to get a hold of. I've tried for like 2 years.
I would love to have him on.
In my opinion, and I'm not even just saying this because you brought it, he is the funniest person on all. Yeah. I think him and Reaper, if you guys got together, I think I'd piss myself.
That would be beautiful.
I really do.
Yeah, that would be beautiful. M8566, $5. When are we going to play drag queen names, real or fake? That's actually a good question. I don't know.
That is work though. You guys have tackled the books and song. Maybe I should jump on that. That might be kind of a fun one.
Yeah, that could be good.
I found a drag queen name generator online. Mine came in at Shanty Towns, so I'm keeping that.
Katima, weird Chappelle's Clayton Bixby vibes. Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah. Thanks, Hemorrhoid. Dear old Melvin jumps in. See, he shrieks. Which is great. At least he's gotten over his Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Which is good. Glad about that. Ballistic Mac for $5. Pedro Pascal is the Doctor Who frontrunner. He can bring his own wardrobe. That's true, actually. Yeah, any one of those 5 outfits we've seen, he could just jump straight onto the screen. Yeah,
it couldn't be worse than Shooty. He was wearing a fucking dress half the episodes.
Yeah, it was shocking. Sterling Jones, member for 3 months. Has Ironheart been discussed yet? Yeah, we did go through it. I can't wait for the bad reviews. Why was Nia DaCosta hired? Do they want Bone Temple to fail? Yeah, good point.
I think Echo got it. She was just cheap as fuck, so they thought, yeah, we'll throw her on. What is January? Somebody said it was getting released, so it's getting released in
January 6th.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Their business model seems to be that 28 years later is going to be the big hitter, and then it's going to have this sort of B side, which they reckon, if they budget it right, will bring in a little bit of extra money. But I guess that's what they went with.
And M8566 again, Dan Murrell or Gundam. I'd love to have either of those guys. That'd be a pleasure. Having them on together would be super strange. But also maybe really cool. So thanks to all those generous contributions in the stream. So I think we're going to basically leave it there. I need to recharge my battery so I can give Sinners my full attention.
Another one just came in.
Oh, another one is probably from Melbourne. Oh no. Barn Bocock, New Zealand 699. Kia ora, bro. Kia ora from Welling. WHFH. So could join live stream for first time. Whoop whoop. Have a coffee on me, Echo. I will, buddy. Kia ora from Wellington. Are they? You need to tell me if they're going to take out the Gandalf on the back of the thing. They're going to take that from Wellington Airport. They're going to remove it. I'm shocked by that. So tell me in the chat if that's still going ahead. But that's basically it for today. What a tremendous stream. I think we've covered everything in the world of culture and entertainment. So just remains for me to go around the horn. Greg Owen, what can you tell us, the folks?
I can tell the folks. We talked about that fundraiser last time. That went amazing. I think we're wrapping it up. I'm still tallying it. I think we raised over $12,000.
Really? Well done, man.
Safe Families for Kids. Yeah, and I'm gonna be a MC at a 5K this Saturday. I will not be running. I'll just be saying things and doing I'll just try to hype people up. This body it's not running that this happens here. But other than that, thanks everybody that helped out with that. Other than that, what am I doing? Oh, I got a video coming out next week about characters you were supposed to hate, but you didn't, like John Walker, and how fucking disconnected everybody is and how they don't understand why people like them. So I'm looking forward to that one. That's going to be fun.
Cool. Good idea. Despot, what can you tell the folks?
I'm currently working on a 3-hour worst to best of Danny Boyle. So I'm going to rank all of his movies, and that'll be out in mid-July.
Good idea. Därkhour.
Nice.
The most recent thing that I did a video on Karate Kid Legends, which was a huge disappointment. That randomly it took like a week and then it started getting views. It was like the weirdest thing. And then I'm just taking a break until Ironheart, which is right around the corner. So it's because I know that it's Ironheart, Superman, Jurassic World. It's like I needed that little break there, but we're tiny. But yeah, you can always catch me on my channel on weekends. We do the the movie breakdowns. Everybody on this panel has been on it at least once. I do have a couple of time slots, but usually Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern. And I was just happy to come back, man. It's always fun. This is probably my favorite live stream to come on. So.
Cool, man. That's great. Z, what can you tell the folks?
Well, I'm guesting on the Mr. Brown Alliance channel and the Trev Retro streams. So look out on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays.
Mm-hmm. And Reaper, I'm more psyched and emotionally invested in you getting to 100,000 subs than you are, which is very strange. What can you tell the folks?
Well, that's the thing. I actually don't know what I'm doing, so we'll see. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll just die at 96,000. Who knows?
Yeah.
Could go to war tomorrow, so
That no one cares about subs.
Nobody gives a shit.
You get drafted based on your sub count, and be like everyone will be like, no.
I'll be more productive in the war going, what's up, guys? fucking blown up.
All right. Well, thanks for staying up so late. And as is our new tradition now, we're going to end with thoughts and reflections that I've culled from the internet to see us out. So it just remains for me to thank Greg Owen, Despot of Antrim, Därkhour, Z3PO, and Reaper, and Kakiti Ono, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.